You're watching Capital One Bowl Mania.
Well, one of the stars in college football, Myles Garrett, defensive lineman for Texas A&M, almost certainly getting ready to play his final college game with the Aggies, arriving here in Houston. NRG Stadium is the venue where the Aggies of A&M take on Bill Snyder's Wildcats of Kansas State. The venue that just a few weeks from now will host Super Bowl 51. This is the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl as a part of Capital One Bowl Mania. And that is our matchup. Texas A&M out of the SEC, Kansas State out of the Big 12. Hi everybody, Dave Fleming alongside Jesse Palmer. It's my favorite kind of bowl matchup because you get teams that have a little history head-to-head. They used to play in the same conference. You get a contrast of styles. We definitely have that tonight. And then you get the star power with Myles Garrett, who has a great chance to be the #1 overall pick in the NFL
He's a
draft.
special player. There's no doubt about that. At 6'5", 270 pounds, Myles Garrett has skill sets that you just can't teach your coach. He's been clocked running 21 miles an hour on a GPS tracking device in practice, can almost jump 39 inches in a vertical. He's always had natural pass rushing ability with his bend and quick twitch, but I think he's really improved in the 3 years as a run defender. It's very rare you see a defensive player impact the game the way Myles Garrett does. He changes opposing offensive coordinators' game plans. Nobody runs at him. Everyone tries to double and triple team him in pass protection. Nobody takes a 7-step drop behind center with Myles Garrett on the field. In the 10 years that I've been at ESPN covering college football, the only 2 defensive players I've seen impact the game that way, Jadeveon Clowney and Ndamukong Suh, and that was the first overall and second overall pick. Because of the way Myles Garrett impacts the game, I think he's put himself in a position to be the first overall pick in next year's draft.
Yeah, high praise indeed, and for good reason. We're going to spend a lot of time focusing on him, talking about him. For more on Myles Garrett, let's welcome in Laura Rutledge.
Well, Dave, with a few other high-profile college football players not playing in their bowl games, Kevin Sumlin asked Myles Garrett if he was going to play, and he looked at his coach like he was crazy and said, "Of course I'm playing in this game. Why would I want to miss this?" Myles told me it's a great opportunity to finish his season with this team, and he thinks he owes it to this university that's done so much for him to play in this game. He also thinks this is a great opportunity to show what he can do against the run. Everybody talks about his pass rushing skills, but he thinks he has a little more to prove when it comes to defending the run. He thinks he can show that tonight against Kansas State's rush offense.
All right, Laura, well, the opponent for Myles Garrett and the Aggies, and I bet you Myles Garrett is happy he's playing in this game because we got a great atmosphere. It is loud as the Wildcats get ready to take the field. Kansas State, Texas A&M kickoff when we come back. Back here in Houston, getting ready for kickoff, Texas A&M and Kansas State. It's a good matchup, interesting in a lot of ways with Bill Snyder, 25 years in Manhattan, Kansas, and so many great things been said about his tenure there, all earned by a guy who's one of the great coaches in the history of college football. This was not a normal year, though, for the Wildcats. They started off slow, 8-4 the overall record. When you look back on it, though, all 4 losses to teams ranked in the top 25 in those playoff rankings, and they finished hot. 5 of their last 6 games they won, many of them in dominating fashion. This is a team that likes to run the ball. They play true Bill Snyder football. Almost all their scoring has come on the ground. And because of that, I think it's a team, Kansas State, that feels like they can have some success against the Aggies of A&M.
On an outstanding season and be able to play in the 11th Advocare Texas Bowl. To see these games, we have Kansas State, home team, visitors, Texas A&M. Number 8, you're going to speak for your team?
Yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen, we have a ceremonial coin for tonight's game. Heads will be the Advocare Texas Bowl logo. The tails will be your logos for both teams. We have a special guest tonight that is going to do the flip, who will flip the coin. He's the Vice President of Sales of Advocare, Mr. Scott Florence. Mr. Florence, you do the honors. So, your call, please.
We'll get tails, please.
You're going to call tails,
yes,
which is the logos of both teams. Sir? It is heads.
We'd like to defer to the second half.
Kansas State has won the toss, elected to defer to the second half.
So Bill Snyder wants to put his defense on the field. First, Kevin Sumlin, who is trying to reverse a track record which has a lot of Aggies fans a little anxious. It was another year, Jesse, where A&M, I mean, they were in that initial college football ranking in the top 4, and they did not finish nearly as strong as the Wildcats did.
But very important for them to finish the season off on the right note. And certainly talking to the coaches and the players, they're all saying the right things. They have a lot of motivation, they feel, to come out tonight, play hard and win, looking for a 9-win season, to send 18 seniors off on the right foot. There's a guy right there in Trevor Knight at quarterback, a one-time Oklahoma player and transfer who's had an excellent year this year as a senior. He's meant so much to this team, not just with his ability throwing and running the football, but as a leader as well. And I think he's as healthy as he's been really since Mississippi State tonight.
Yeah, the health has been a big part of his story. Transferred, of course, from Oklahoma, lost the job to Baker Mayfield there. And he was a savior for a team that needed a quarterback. He would play very well, lost on the road in Tuscaloosa, but then the injury, and that really hurt A&M's season. Without Trevor Knight, they did not play nearly as well. It wasn't the offense's fault on Thanksgiving against LSU in a loss to the Tigers. So you got lots of guys playing their final college games. Trevor Knight is one of them. And on the other side, Jordan Willis, who was the defensive player of the year in the Big 12. Kansas State goes so much against type, Jesse, where you think of the Big 12 and all the spread offenses and the high scoring and not much defense played. Wildcats have a very solid defensive team.
But I think that's one of the reasons why they feel confident tonight. We mentioned they won 5 of their last 6 games. They've been so good on offense running the ball their last 6 games. Defensively, statistically, they're the best in the Big 12, and I think stylistically they feel like they match up great tonight. They're very good at running it on offense. A&M on defense has struggled stopping the run.
So here we go with a kickoff deep into the end zone, and Justin Evans is going to take a knee. It'll be a touchback. And Trevor Knight and the Aggies offense will come on the field to get this game started, and it'll lead us into our Lexus Impact players when Texas A&M has the ball.
Christian Kirk for Texas A&M has to get a lot of touches, both catching and running the football. He's the most dynamic player on offense for Texas A&M. And we just talked about Jordan Willis, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, probably getting overshadowed in this game because Myles Garrett's playing in it. But he's a big-time player. He's a complete player, stopping the run, rushing the passer, and Texas A&M's offensive line is going to have their hands full trying to slow down number 75.
Well, Kirk, the guy Jesse was just talking about, started in the backfield. Now he motions out, so Knight is all alone, and he'll throw. The first pass play of the game is complete to Ricky Seals-Jones, one of a talented core wide receivers. It's not just Christian Kirk.
No, and that's really the strength of this offense. You have the dynamic playmaker Kirk in its slot outside Josh Reynolds, one of the best deep threats in the country. It was a good matchup everywhere for Trevor Knight.
A&M also has really been a good running team this year, and the first carry of the game to the junior Keith Ford for an A&M first down.
It's going to be important to establish that inside zone run. That's going to open up running opportunities for Trevor Knight at quarterback. It's also going to open up some opportunities in the play-action passing game.
And right away, an injury on the defensive line. Will Geary, who is part of a stout unit, Jordan Willis and company. Good defensive front for Bill Snyder's team. We're talking about how the Aggies did not finish the year the way that they wanted to. And Kevin Sumlin, I mean, putting a lot on this game, I think, as you said, to try to reverse that trend. You take out the non-conference games at the end of the schedule, 0-4 in their last 4 SEC games, and the numbers across the board were way down.
Well, and it's been a bit of a trend. This is the 3rd year in a row now that Texas A&M has come out of the gate really hot. They just kind of stumbled down the stretch. So I'm really curious to kind of see their effort level in this game tonight. Are they trying to finish this thing strong, or do they have a bunch of guys that just kind of want to turn the page and start focusing on 2017?
And I do think part of that story was when Trevor Knight was out, and they were a much different team. Ford will get the carry left edge with some speed to go along with his power, jumping up over a would-be tackler and very close to a first down. He's played well when he's been healthy. The numbers aren't overwhelming. The numbers on the ground, he is an athletic weapon in the run game. Quick hitter out to the right side. Another catch for Ricky Seals-Jones and an A&M first down.
And I think what you love about Trevor Knight is just the big play capability. He is a very fast runner. He can hit the home run in the zone read game. He also has the ability to extend plays with the scrambling ability. He's got a lot of arm talent. He can stretch the field vertically to Josh Reynolds and Christian Kirk. This offense is a home run waiting to happen with Trevor Knight under center.
Kirk comes in motion, already across midfield, first drive of the game. Knight with a nice pocket, swings it out to Ford. Both of the running backs for A&M can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. A big hit and a fairly short game.
But I will say already, you can kind of see the health of Trevor Knight and how live that arm looks. I remember you and I were calling his last regular season game against LSU. Pre-game, he had that sprained AC joint. Ball wasn't coming out like it's coming out tonight. It's been nice having those extra couple of weeks off because that arm looks juiced.
Another throw with a lot of zip on it, this time to Josh Reynolds for an Aggies first down. Let's send it downstairs to Laura Rutledge.
Dave, as Jesse was just talking about, with Trevor Knight's health, he's feeling so much better than he was at the end of the regular season. He's still dealing with some pain, especially when he throws the deep ball, but he said it's significantly better, and he doesn't care how much pain he is in tonight. This game means so much.
Travion Williams, the true freshman from here in Houston, who really had a great first year with the Aggies, gets his first touch of the game.
Good 1-2 punch at running back for Texas A&M. You got the speed of the true freshman Travion Williams and the physicality of the Oklahoma transfer, number 7 Keith Ford. They can spell each other, stay fresh. Big reason why this running game so much improved this season versus a year ago.
2nd and 7. Williams another carry and got met near the line of scrimmage. For a guy who's not that big in stature, he does have some power to him, and he pushed ahead for an extra couple yards.
It was Elijah Lee that was making the hit. First team all Big 12 linebacker. This guy's a tackling machine. Not the biggest linebacker, 6'3", about 228 pounds, but it's a nice stick.
So the first third down of the game for A&M, and a nice delivery. Reynolds breaks a tackle inside the 10, 1st and goal.
Josh Reynolds on a big body slant here on 3rd down. He's got a big frame, 6'4" in these long arms. It's a good, accurate throw. Trevor Knight out in front. You see, not an easy guy to bring down.
19-yard completion to a receiver who's had a touchdown in 7 consecutive games. We'll see if they go to him here inside the 10. Try to make it 8. What an impressive start. Knight, handoff, Ford, touchdown.
They get a great block on this play by their left tackle Avery Genesee on the freshman Reggie Walker out here. Watch this, gets turned inside. They pull the backside tackle Coda Martin all the way across the formation to take out the linebacker Elijah Lee, and that opened up the crease for the Oklahoma transfer Keith Ford.
A couple Sooners in the backfield. Knight handed it off to Ford. Now Aggies, and playing well for A&M. What a start. 10 plays, 75 yards, just 3.5 minutes against, as we said, a legitimately solid defensive team. The extra point from Daniel LaCamera. Up and good. Well, in Houston, not that far from College Station, a lot of Aggies fans are here, and they are pumped with the way their team started. Keith Ford in the ground game, punching it in. A&M over Kansas State with the early 7-0 lead. From Houston, Texas. Texas A&M getting the ball first and marching right down the field. Keith Ford punching it in. Now Myles Garrett will get ready to head on the field himself with the A&M defense. Our keys to the game brought to you by Franklin American Mortgage Company.
Texas A&M's defense has to be able to get off the field. 3rd down was a major issue for them in their last 4 games. And meanwhile, for Kansas State, they have to have a plan for Myles Garrett. Are they going to run away from him in pass protection in obvious 3rd down situations? Do they single, double, or triple team him? Go a long way to determine the kind of success they'll have on offense tonight.
Kansas State, who has always been such a good special teams team under Bill Snyder. No chance for a return. It's a touchback, and that means Jesse Ertz and the Wildcats offense. We'll see them for the first time. Jesse Ertz coming back from injury last year. He had a heck of a season.
He sure did. He is a true dual threat quarterback, but I think what makes him unique is his running ability. He's a big physical runner at 6'3", 212 pounds that can break tackles, but I think he's got deceptive speed. Doesn't look like he's running too fast. You watch the film, though, he's just running away from everybody. He's a very patient runner. He's able to set up blocks, and as a result, he He averaged 79 rushing yards a game. That was 6th most of any quarterback in the FBS.
One of the best running quarterbacks in the country, Jesse Ertz, and the Wildcats trying to answer. They will hand it off on first down. The starting tailback Charles Jones with a nice first down gain.
This is an offense that they don't throw the football very much. So statistically, as an offense, they're way down near the bottom of the charts when it comes to passing. But I don't think that's indicative of Jesse Ertz's ability to throw the football. I actually think he's a very good passer. That's just not what they're asking him to do in this offense. He's the team's leading rusher. He's carried it more times than anybody else on offense.
2nd down and 6, a little play fake, and on target for his first completion of the game. And some tough running after the catch. Deontay Burton, I think he got the first down. And he did. That was nice effort from number 6. There may not be a Tyler Lockett on this Kansas State team, but they have some weapons on the outside for a team that doesn't throw it very often.
Yeah, they got some one-on-one matchups and some guys on the perimeter that I think Jesse Ertz should feel pretty good about when he has those one-on-one chances.
The fullback Winston Dimmel alongside Ertz. They got the play snapped. A lot of time. Ertz now scrambling and just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. Couldn't do it.
Nice job in coverage that time by the Texas A&M defense. Take a look. These routes coming out for Kansas State and who's open. It's good, tight man-to-man coverage all the way across the board. Here. There's nowhere to go with it for Jesse Ertz. Now setting up 2nd and long.
Handed it off, and a nice play by the A&M defense. Otara Alaka from his middle linebacker spot tackles Charles Jones.
And this is exactly what Texas A&M wants. They want to have success on 1st and 2nd down to set up 3rd and obvious passing situations to allow Myles Garrett to do what he does best, pin his ears back and create havoc in the backfield. Right now they've got him lined up outside on the left side of the formation against the left tackle freshman Scott Franz, number 74. They've got a tight end on that side looking to help out.
Who is a big-time blocking tight end, Dayton Valentine. Play clock winding down again on 3rd and long. Ertz across the middle, almost intercepted. Intended for Byron Pringle, incomplete. It's 4th down.
Very good start so far for Texas A&M. We kind of talked about wanting to see the energy level and the enthusiasm level after losing 3 of their last 4 games, but offense, first drive of the first possession of the game, go down 10 plays, 75 yards and score, and defense looking very, very good. And there's maybe the best punt return in the country right there, Christian Kirk. He's taken 5 back in his career for touchdowns. That's a school record.
And teams just have stopped kicking it toward him. This one, well, he signals fair catch, enough hang time to force the fair catch. Texas A&M will have the ball for a 2nd time, and Trevor Knight, who there's a penalty flag, by the way, on that punt. So before we bring the offense back on the field, we'll get this sorted out. Jerry McGinn, a Big Ten officiating crew, is here in Houston tonight.
Into the play. Personal foul. Defense, the kicking team. 15-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. 1st down.
Wow.
There were a couple of players that kind of got tangled up near the 20-yard line at the end of that play. It was hard to tell in live, watching it in real time, whether it was intentional or not, but it definitely was late. It was a player in Kansas State getting hit in the back. I think it was Sam Sizlove for Kansas State that kind of went down and was limping off the field.
48-yard punt without a return, but you net only 33 yards with the penalty, so good field position for the Aggies. Bill Snyder's got to be a little concerned with the way this game has started. His is not a team that's particularly built to play come from behind. Knight, play fake, across the middle, incomplete. Chance for a catch there with the tight end short. but he couldn't hang on.
You're seeing the decisiveness here from Trevor Knight. He just looks sharp. Ball's coming out, it's live, it's accurate. He's putting throws on the bodies of his wide receivers. Good news for offensive coordinator Noel Mazzoni and certainly head coach Kevin Sumlin and the rest of the Aggies.
I mean, he shocked everybody when he came back to play in that LSU game. Hand off, Travion Williams nowhere to go. It'll be 3rd and long.
So we talked about Myles Garrett for Texas A&M. Now you're lining up in Jordan Willis's dojo for Kansas State. These are his scenarios that he lives for as well. 3rd and long scenarios. And in this game, it's important to remember, Texas A&M starting left guard Colton Prater out with an injury, so they've moved Coda Martin, a backup tackle, into the right tackle spot to face off against the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
You got one of the SEC's all-time sack leaders in Myles Garrett on A&M side, the Big 12 leader this year in Jordan Willis. The throw across the middle, Ricky Seals-Jones strong enough to get the first down.
Such an advantage as a quarterback when you know you've got a guy that's 6'5", 240 pounds. Ricky Seals-Jones just working the middle of the field. It's a good read by Trevor Knight. He reads the blitz. He understands where his answer is. 240 pounds, 6'5", that's tough to bring down short of the sticks.
You know, when we met with Kevin Sumlin, Noel Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator of the Aggies, Knight will hit it, that same target, out of bounds. Another completion to Seals-Jones. And I asked point blank, why Ricky Seals-Jones did not have more numbers this year. I mean, he is a talented kid who just didn't touch the ball very often.
Well, he got hurt against Arkansas earlier in the year. It took him some time to get back, but here these last 4 games, he's been playing very well.
That pass complete, stopped short, I believe, of a first down. That's Jeremy Tabuyo, who is essentially taking the place of another one of the talented receivers, Speedy Noyle, who has been suspended for this game.
That hurts this offense too, Dave, because Speedy Noyle had played exceptionally well, I think, against Ole Miss and LSU. Best football, I think, of his career.
On 3rd down, Williams, I think he got it, but it's going to depend on the spot.
It was Tanner Wood, number 34 for Kansas State, came screaming off the edge and nobody blocked him.
Yeah, he didn't get it. He did not get the first down. It's 4th down in Kansas State territory. Aggies look like they're going for it.
This is no gimme here against this run defense. Kansas State is exceptionally stout up front with their 4 D linemen inside with Will Geary, number 60, who got hurt earlier in the game. He's back in now. Big number 99, Trey Deshawn. Not easy guys to move.
And on 4th and a half a yard, there's no running back. Knight will hit Kirk, who gets a block and gets the first down.
I love the play call by offensive coordinator Noel Mazzoni, because that quick bubble screen is basically the extension of a sweep play. So you don't have to have a running back in the backfield. Look at all of the access that Kansas State is allowing these receivers. There's plenty of cushion. That's just a quick job of catching the ball in the shotgun. It's like a shortstop. Trevor Knight just spitting it out quickly, getting that first down.
That was Tabuyo with the block. They're going to throw it backwards to Kirk, who was trying to pass. Now a flag thrown. He will pass. Williams out there. It's overthrown, incomplete. So trying to use Kirk as an extra quarterback, essentially.
It's going to be an illegal cut block here on the outside against Texas A&M. I think it was Ricky Seals-Jones working against Cree Moore in the slot. When you're blocking below the knees like that, and you're outside of that low blocking zone, it's got to be from the front of the defender.
Illegal block on the offense. Number 9, 15-yard penalty. First down.
So if you line up outside of that low blocking zone, if you're going to attempt to block like that, it has to be from the front, which is kind of defined by 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And that time, he certainly clipped him and kind of got him by the side. That's a good call. It's a dangerous play.
And it's a huge penalty because it backs A&M all the way back into their own territory.
How about Noel Mazzoni dialing up the double pass? It's a bowl game.
It's a bowl game. To me, that's one of the really fun things about these bowl games is teams feel free to open up the playbook. First and 25. Looked like a designed run. Trevor Knight got tripped up. That was a good open field tackle, Shermichael Moore.
And I like this defense from Kansas State. They're statistically, again, the best in the Big 12. And it's not an overly complicated scheme. They are bend, don't break. They only rush 4 guys. We got 7 guys back in coverage looking at the ball. They rally to it. They tackle extremely well. They don't give up explosive plays. They keep the ball in front and challenge you to be patient. That's why they're only giving up 21.8 points a game.
Play fake on 2nd and long. Knight now pressured from behind. And Knight will throw it away. Good decision.
Really good coverage, I think, that time out wide by Donnie Starks, a cornerback. He was working one-on-one against Josh Reynolds, and Texas A&M was trying to dial up the slant and go. Watch this. They've been throwing these short routes. Remember, they hit him on the slant in the 3rd down. At that time, I think it was Josh Reynolds that kind of ran into Donnie Starks. That was good defense, and it was the good coverage that forced Trevor Knight to have to hold on to the football. Now here you go, 3rd in California. I'd be expecting a safe call here from Noel Mazzoni. Draw, screen, easy play.
Yeah, you're midfield. You could try to get about half of it back and then go for it on 4th down. We'll see. Play clock winding down, and they get the ball snapped in time. Pressure. It's a screen play, incomplete, and that was well defended on all levels.
Yeah, and it was a really good job by number 34, Tanner Wood, just kind of sniffing it out. He started pass rushing at the very last second. He felt the running back, Travion Williams, trying to sneak out of the backfield. Watch over, they'll start over here. Or over here, 34. Doing a nice job on the right-hand side. Just smart, good football IQ by the junior out of Conway Springs, Kansas.
So any sort of timing for that play was interrupted, and that penalty was important. A&M will punt a very high and short punt. Fair catch at around the 20. That was not what Shane Tripucka was hoping for. Wildcats will take it, and they'll take the ball. When we come back to NRG Stadium here in Houston, it's the Texas Bowl. Aggies leading 7-0.
The Advocare V100 Texas Bowl. Brought to you by Advocare. Shop and learn more at advocare.com. The Quicksilver card from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back. Every purchase, everywhere. And Lexus, who wishes you happy holidays.
All right, so do you have a guess as to which side won the traditional rodeo bowl? Added up all the events.
And a lot of purple.
Yeah, the Wildcats took home the championship. Rodeo Bowl champions.
Apparently, the rodeo winners have won 8 of the 10 Texas Bowls. There's a direct correlation there.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that makes Aggies folks real proud. Lose the rodeo bowl. So we'll see. Wildcats playing from behind on the field. Perfect throw. Pringle down the sideline. Touchdown. 79 yards. Wow.
And Pringle got a fantastic release at the line of scrimmage and was able to run right around the cornerback, Nick Harvey. Just excellent job of technique and being patient. Watch this. Just sets it up, puts his foot in the ground, and then it's pure speed. What a throw by Jesse Ertz right on the run. We talked about him being a very good passer. They just don't oftentimes ask him to do it in this offense, but you can't do that any better. This is not an offense known for a ton of explosive plays. They generally have to drive the field to score and eat up a lot of clock. But an explosion here early from Pringle in this K-State offense.
Yeah, Byron Pringle, he's kind of been the one guy who has produced some of those big plays. The sophomore from Tampa, extra point, sneaked it through the right upright. It took one play for Jesse Ertz and his offense to answer A&M and tie this game. Jesse's talked about Ertz. They don't ask him to throw very often, but when they do, he's been accurate. What a throw. I always love looking into the subtleties of the quarterback position.
This is a great job on this touchdown throw by Jesse Ertz, using his eyes to help manipulate this defense. Now he's got to hold the safety Larry Pryor on the hash to give himself room to complete this throw. You see how he was able, though, to use his eyes and just sort of peek without giving it away to see if his receiver Pringle got a good release. I think if he had just caught the ball and stared flat out with his head over to the right side, I think the safety may have gotten involved in that throw, but a nice job fundamentals, not just throwing the football and good footwork. Great job using your eyes.
Yeah, and you told us right from the start tonight, just because they don't ask him to throw a lot doesn't mean he can't throw. He's an accomplished passer in high school to go along with all the speed. And good special teams coverage from the Wildcats. Let's get our first check in studio tonight with Reese Davis. All right, thanks, Reese. It has been a theme of this bowl season so far. A lot of upstarts, underdogs, not just playing close, but winning games. Kansas State is an underdog in this one, although not by much. Trevor Knight looking middle deep. Kirk intercepted. Kendall Adams, the safety, picked it off.
Texas A&M trying to use some misdirection. They're pump faking out left quickly and try to buy Trevor Knight some time to get the throwback post to their most dangerous receiver in Christian Kirk. Look at this coverage by the safety Kendall Adams. Any quarterback in the country would love that matchup. You got your best receiver against the safety, but the throw a little bit underthrown. But how about the ball skills by Kendall Adams? Climbing the ladder and high pointing the football. You can't do that any better.
Tremendous. Now that's a sophomore. We saw the sophomore Pringle take the deep pass to the end zone. This is a young Kansas State team with a bright future. And
a defense that's done a great job taking the ball away. You see right there, 16 picks on the season. That's most in the Big 12. They only had 5 a year ago. That differential is the biggest turnaround difference in the entire country.
The only Power 5 teams with better turnover differential than Kansas State, Washington and Ohio State, both playoff teams. And they've done that very well. They haven't had the ball much in this one. There's that turnaround from last year to this. Justin Silman is the tailback for the first time, and he just got smothered, lost a yard.
And we've talked about Jordan Willis in this game and how he can impact the football game too. And just watch the pressure he gets here on Trevor Knight. And a big reason why Trevor Knight had to pull up real quickly with this throw, wasn't able to step into it, and probably a big reason why that football was underthrown. So even though it's the safety Adams making the pick, really you could argue it was Jordan Willis making the play.
Second and long for the Wildcats after the interception. Play fake. Ertz goes down.
A fantastic job up front. Zakoven Henderson, number 92 at defensive tackle, was able to get penetration. I think he's really been the breakout kind of star on this defensive line for Texas A&M this year, making plays in opponents' backfields. 9 tackles for loss coming into tonight because of that play. Now sets up another 3rd and long. We talked about Kansas State. You've got to have a plan for that guy right there. Ill-advised to try and block him with just one guy.
And at least at the moment, the tight end is on the other side of the formation. Now the running back is sort of shaded in the direction of Myles Garrett. Ertz rolling out, going deep. Pringle again, and he couldn't hang on. Justin Evans, the safety for A&M.
Another great play by a safety here on 2 consecutive possessions, because that time Pringle got behind the defender, but it was Evans with catch-up speed, able to get back and bat that football away. What a season Justin Evans has had. He leads the team with 4 picks. He's been physical. He's a human missile. I mean, he brings a physicality and an attitude to this defense. It's a big reason why he was voted co-defensive MVP along with Myles Garrett.
He's playing his final game for A&M, and then almost assuredly he's going to get a chance to play in the NFL. The low snap, punt from Nick Walsh. And running up Kirk with a lot of momentum. Broke a tackle outside the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Aggies defense gets some credit for that after the interception. Almost immediately they get the ball back for the offense. Thursday on ESPN, we got bowl games almost wall to wall. Start in Birmingham, South Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, Virginia Tech at 5:30 Eastern, the Belk Bowl, the Valero Alamo Bowl. And a good matchup in San Antonio, Oklahoma State and Colorado.
Oh, the season the head coach Mike McIntyre had with Colorado. This is their first bowl game in 10 seasons. Unbelievable. That Alamo Bowl is going to be a lot of fun. That's the highest ranked matchup they've ever had in that bowl's history.
Trevor Knight in the offense. Hand off. Travion Williams got hit hard. I thought he was going to get to the corner there, but Sharmichael Moore closed the gap.
He has tremendous speed, and he can close the distance. 52 right here. He's a heat-seeking missile himself. Great job making tackles in the open field. Big reason why this is the best run defense in the Big 12, giving up only 112 rush yards a game. They've got dudes that tackle in space and they don't miss.
Pressure comes. Knight stepped up nicely. Now throws incomplete. Jordan Willis was putting the heat on Trevor Knight. Let's go down to Laura.
Well, Dave, throughout this game and before Trevor Knight's interception, Noel Mazzoni has been telling him to not get impatient. Knight a little frustrated, and he told us before, Mazzoni did, that this K-State defense can make a tempo quarterback really impatient and make him want to throw for big gains, and you just have to be satisfied with some of those 5-yard gains, guys.
Well, good info. Now it's 3rd and 10. They need 10 to keep this drive going. Kirk in motion. Knight. Incomplete. Reynolds coming out of his cut was open, but they could not connect. It's 4th down.
I give this defense a lot of credit because they've been making plays earlier in drives and setting up longer passing situations here. Kansas State lines up with 4 defensive ends. It's like their cheetah package on 3rd and long, trying to get more speed involved in on the rush. Trevor Knight kind of let it go early and just a little bit over the outstretched arms of Josh Reynolds.
So another Aggies punt. High kick. Now somebody ran into the punt returner. That special teams player is arguing that he was blocked into the return man, but 2 penalty flags were thrown.
It was Donovan Wilson, number 6 for Texas A&M. There was some contact, but he had a chance to kind of recover and collect himself. This will be interesting. Watch this.
Dominique Heath made that fair catch signal. What do you think?
I think that's running into the return guy.
Yeah.
It's kick catch interference.
Kick catch and interference on the kickers. Number 6. 15-yard penalty. They added on from the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
Now, with some attitude, I like it.
Jerry feeling frisky tonight.
But going back on that play, now if he had been blocked into the return guy, then that's not a penalty. But I think that time Donovan Wilson kind of ran in on his own accord.
So now Kansas State will start at the 45-yard line. This game has really changed. 2 minutes plus to go in the first quarter. The quick start on both ends for Texas A&M. And think back that the second time they had the ball, they were driving it into Kansas State territory, went for it on 4th down, converted. A huge penalty backed them up, and since then, things have not been the same. So Bill Snyder's offense, Jesse Ertz and company, back on the field. Juggle of the snap. That quick pass to the right side, complete to Isaiah Zuber.
And you can see here that the identity of this Kansas State offense is to run the football. That's what they take pride in. And they're very, very interesting in the sense that they're like old school, new school. Old school in the personnel groupings they use. They love to use multiple tight ends and fullbacks, but they're new school with the schemes. They run a lot of plays out of the shotgun. They like the zone read. It's a very interesting combination that you don't see a lot in college football, and it makes preparing for them for an opposing defense so difficult.
2nd down and 8. Keeper for Ertz, who got a block, got to that corner, now trying to get to the 1st down and gets very close.
And so it's a downhill kind of body blow rushing attack. They like to run the quarterback a lot with the extra blocker. And listen, Texas A&M, they've seen pro-style running attacks this year and multiple tight ends and fullbacks. Saw it against UCLA, saw it against Arkansas, saw it against LSU, but they haven't seen this type of personnel grouping with the running scheme that Kansas State likes to use. So it's a good thing that Texas A&M has had this extra time, this extra couple of weeks trying to get prepared for Bill Snyder's offense.
3rd and very short, and look at that formation. That looks old school to me.
They're not throwing it.
Ertz keeps it, got a shove from behind and got the 1st down. I think it's been a misconception with Bill Snyder because he does do things differently.
It's a lot of pounds.
A lot of pounds.
In that backfield. You got about 3 fullbacks back there. pushing on Jesse Yurt. I mean, Jesse Yurt's on that play is getting pushed from the front. He's getting pushed from the back. Not easy.
I mean, just because they use those old school personnel groups, they have been innovative under Bill. Heck, the Wildcat offense is, a lot of folks will say, called that because of Bill Snyder in Kansas State. Ertz now going to run with a penalty flag throw. Was trying to use a lead blocker and couldn't quite do it effectively. We'll see what the call is.
The penalty flag thrown out to the right side where receiver Byron Pringle was working one-on-one. If that might have been defensive holding on the outside.
Holding. Defense. Number 1. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Well, Jesse Yurts has a matchup that he really likes right now, and it's Byron Pringle working against Nick Harvey. That was the matchup where they threw the long touchdown pass, and it seems like when Texas A&M is getting aggressive outside and they're lining up in that press bump and run type coverage, that's immediately where Jesse Yurts' eyes are going.
Well, remember, they threw that long touchdown pass on first down. This last play was a first down play where they were looking to throw the ball. It's
a good idea to do that as a coaching staff, right? You know, you're running offense, and on first down, obviously the defense is expecting run, so you throw the changeup.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, this game changed pretty dramatically from the great start for the Aggies of A&M. As we get to the end of quarter number 1, Kansas State has found their footing. Great crowd, great energy in Houston. And a fun game so far. Aggies and Wildcats 7-7. Well, this college football bowl season, stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Download the app or visit watchespn.com today. Start of the second quarter here at NRG Stadium in Houston. A&M had the ball first, went right down the field. Keith Ford touchdown made it 7-0 Aggies. But the big play to Byron Pringle, 79-yard touchdown catch. And Kansas State's defense has cooled off the quarterback Trevor Knight and his Aggies offense. Wildcats have the ball in Texas A&M territory. 1st and 10 as the second quarter starts. Jesse Yurts trying to just wait patiently for a hole to open up. And I guess maybe there was a little bit of a hole there, but he got tackled after a gain of a yard.
Yeah, it's a run-pass option play where it's a quarterback draw called, but receivers are also running routes on the perimeter of the field. And if Jesse Yurts looks outside and sees a look that he likes, he can spit the football out there. And these run-pass options have become so common now in college football, and it really puts defenses in a bind.
Bill Snyder's team looks a lot better than it did in the early minutes of this game. A&M crowding the line of scrimmage. Play clock starting to wind down. The fullback split out wide right, and they just got the play off. A handoff and out into the open field. The running back Silman with a cut to the 10 inside the 5.
It looked like Dalen Mack, number 5, was going to blow this play up in the backfield. Jesse Yurts did the right thing, ended up handing it off here on the zone read. And just tremendous feat by Justin Silman here, making a couple guys miss in the back. There's 1, 2, gets outside. He's able to make another defender in the secondary. That's the safety Larry Pryor. Missed as well.
Now that went from almost a disaster for Kansas State to a 28-yard carry and 1st and goal. And the part of the field now where the Wildcats are just so tough to stop.
And they use their fullback Winston Dimmel as the Wildcat quarterback right now in this area of the field. He's set up behind center.
Yeah, Dimmel will take the direct snap, it looks like he does. But first, a whistle blows. They did not get the play off. Wow. I guess that's a risk when you take your quarterback out.
Late game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And we talk about Winston Dimmel. He's a real key on offense, and he just missed his chance for a touchdown. Leads the team with 12 rushing touchdowns, and I think right there, Bill Snyder telling him, hey man, we do this all the time. We do this every week. You know, we get down inside the 10-yard line, you're going in. You got to hustle up.
That is about as animated as Bill Snyder will get. The son of the offensive coordinator, Dana Dimmel, out of the game. Now another flag and another penalty. This time I think Kansas State moved.
It's a left guard, Tyler Mitchell.
Ball start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And this is not Bill Snyder football. I mean, one of the things that he prides himself on, and these Kansas State teams have been so good at over the years, is not beating themselves. They're third best in the Big 12, averaging only 53 penalty yards a game. They've already got 3 penalties early in this one.
I mean, it was first and goal from the 4. Now it's first and goal from the 14. That's a big difference for this offense. Dimmel back in the game as a fullback. Ertz throws to Pringle. And he'll get down to the 5.
That's the favorite route combo for Kansas State. They like to run the slot receiver on a seam route and kind of clear out the middle of the defense, and then they have the outside receiver, in this case Byron Pringle, running the underneath route. It's the same play. Peyton Manning made a living on this, throwing to Marvin Harrison with the Indianapolis Colts. A nice job there getting a lot of that lost yardage back.
One of the best red zone teams in college football. Ertz gonna keep it. Uses that acceleration and a stiff arm touchdown. What a great patient run by the quarterback, Jesse Ertz.
I think you hit it on the head. Patience. He's got to allow the right tackle, Dalton Risner, to pull around all the way to the left side, and the fullback to get out in front. He just lets those blocks set up. We talked about his physicality as a runner. 6'3", 212 pounds there, showing off the stiff arm.
Was that Justin Evans that he put on the turf?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the bigger hitters in the SEC.
Mom's happy. 8 plays, 55 yards, even with those penalties on first and goal. Kansas State punches it in. First lead of the game for the Wildcats. Ian Patterson had his point after blocked. Well, we'll see if the Aggies can turn it into something.
Guess who? It was Myles Garrett.
Yeah, he got a hand up.
15 in the middle of that defense. He was able to get that big right paw up, make an impact on special teams.
Saves his team a point.
The NFL scouts are like this. Star defensive players that start on special teams and still play hard. Well, a couple miscues early for Kansas State that you don't see. We talked about the penalties. Special teams is another thing that generally they're excellent in. It'll be interesting to see down the road in this game just how big of an impact having that extra point block is in this game.
Well, you think of programs defined by special teams in the last couple decades even. Virginia Tech would come to mind under Frank Beamer, and I think Kansas State under Bill Snyder has just been a huge part of what they've done. The kicking game has been ragged, though, with some injuries for the Wildcats this year. Bill Snyder has been around for so long and probably did the most remarkable turnaround job historically in college football. And this was a program that had almost no success for, 5-6 decades? And now 25 plus years as a head coach.
77 years old. He's already in the Hall of Fame. He got inducted in last December. It's like a fine wine. The guy gets better with age. But it's that smart football we talk about, right? Run the ball on offense. Eat the clock. Defense. Don't give up big plays. Be excellent in the return game and the coverage game on special teams. Don't commit penalties. Win the turnover battle. Seems like his teams do that year in, year out, and that's a big reason why he's had so much success.
77 years old, still doing the old Bill Snyder stuff where no breakfast, no lunch, in the office all day, walk on the treadmill while you're watching film, maybe have a sandwich at the end of the day, and just do it over and over and over again.
And loves to wear a suit. I mean, he's a legend. And you know, what's cool is that when you talk to his players, they have so much respect, I think, and admiration for him, current and past. They just speak so glowingly about the best coach in their school history.
Well, in a game here in Houston where it was looking like maybe we had an overmatch early, A&M came out firing. And now look at it, 12-19 to go in the first half. It's 13-7 Wildcats. Trevor Knight, little run throw to Kirk, who on that left side got stopped short of a first down.
I love the idea because you got to get number 3 the ball. You got to do it creatively. You can throw it to him conventionally, hand it off to him, pitch it to him like that. But you see the drive charts. It was a very fast start, and ever since, Kansas State's defense started making life tougher for Trevor Knight.
That will officially go down as a pass. On snaps is 0 for 5. Trevor Knights. He had gone cold after the hot start. Handoff on second down. Ford lowers the boom at the 45. First down, A&M.
A really nice job with a block by the left tackle, Avery Genesee. Talk about athleticism. 6'5", 315 pounds. Watch him pull all the way across the formation to get a block on Elijah Lee, and that helps spring the running back, Keith Ford.
Quick snap. Another big hole for Ford into Kansas State territory. Took a hit at the end, but hung on to the football.
The tempo is cranking up right now for Texas A&M. That's a big difference between these two offenses. They both do like to run the ball, but Kansas State generally takes their time. A&M, they're trying to run as many snaps as they possibly can.
Now Trevion Williams, the true freshman, back in. Another throw. Ricky Seals-Jones dropped it. That almost had the look. Now, I don't know, maybe he was just looking to pick up a block, but the kid who was a high school quarterback, he's a guy you could see on some trick play formations, but he dropped the ball. Well, the tempo discussion that you were having, yeah. There's a huge difference between the way these two teams like to do it. I think the tempo of the A&M offense, in a funny way, became a bit of a problem late in the year. Their defense got exposed. Just on the field for a lot of plays, a lot of time. Knight threw it behind Ricky Seals-Jones, incomplete.
I think here, if you're Texas A&M on a 3rd and 10 scenario, if you're Trevor Knight, you're trying to find number 3 Christian Kirk, and he's the guy that they like to move around on these 3rd down situations. The defenses are in big zone coverages with 2 high safeties. They like to try and get Christian Kirk isolated, working over the middle of the field. Right now they've got him lined up at the top of the screen in the slot. There's kind of that standard kind of quarters look from Kansas State defensively.
Reynolds, the guy all alone on the right side. Looking towards Reynolds, going deep. It is caught! What a catch by Josh Reynolds.
Great job by Trevor Knight IDing the corner blitz coming from the near side of the field. So right away he knew he had his best deep threat one-on-one with a safety. And number 21, Kendall Adams. Here's the catch radius I'm talking about with Josh Reynolds. Look at this. Those long arms at 6'4", just able to pluck the football out of the air. And very, very nearly came up with his 8th receiving touchdown in the last 8 games.
Well, maybe he can get one here. 1st and goal, Texas A&M. Williams, the tailback. Knight keeps it and throws. Jones stepped out of bounds. Now, he was powering forward toward that pylon, but he was out back inside the 4-yard line.
Yeah, these zone read type runs with these wide receiver attachments are tough to defend. It basically becomes like a triple option look almost, and it's not an easy tackle right there by Donnie Starks working against a 240-pound wide receiver. Now, I think down in this area of the field, inside the 5-yard line, I think Trevor Knight's legs become a factor in the zone read game. We talked about his speed, his ability to get outside. As a defense, you have to honor and respect this guy's ability to run the football.
2nd and goal. Knight throwing toward the corner of the end zone. Touchdown!
Well, there's Ricky Seals-Jones. That's the 8th time in this game that Trevor Knight has targeted his big wide receiver in the slot. This time, they're kind of running him on a delayed wheel route, one-on-one. He's able to get behind the nickel defender 3 more. How about this? The big hands, there's the foot down. Is the ball moved? Is it wobble?
Woo!
I think he had it the entire time.
I do too.
That's a touchdown.
Strong fingers.
Wow. What an accurate throw too there by Trevor Knight over the shoulder. I mean, that's down the chimney.
It's hard to believe when you watch that is his first touchdown catch of the year.
You're right.
But a guy who is going to make the decision after this game whether to declare for the draft and go pro or come back for another year in College Station. He's kind of making a statement tonight, having his best game of the year by far. Extra point is good. Jesse, you've been talking about the talent on the wide receiver position for Texas A&M. We saw 2 great catches.
Yeah, there's a matchup problem everywhere. You got the deep threat Josh Reynolds outside, then you got the size of Ricky Seals-Jones working the inside, and that offense comes back to life Is Texas A&M able to retake the lead here midway through the second?
It could be that Trevor Knight is the most positive, upbeat player in college football. Can you tell where he gets it from?
It's his parents there on the right. I like how they've been on camera before. I mean, they know where our camera is. See Dad just giving the gig right there. That's good.
Yeah, he's an easy guy to root for, Trevor Knight, because he just sort of kills you with his positivity. He has been an attitude changer for this Aggies program. Kickoff deep to the Wildcats, who are going to bring it out. On a return to the 20, 25, and hit there. Is that the kicker who put the hit on?
I think it was.
I think so. Braden Mann made the tackle. Well, Monday, January 2nd, and that's sort of the key thing here. Traditional New Year's Day bowl games, because of the NFL schedule, moved to Monday, January 2nd, so make sure you don't miss that. Western Michigan, Wisconsin, that's the Cotton Bowl. SC Penn State in Pasadena, nothing better than that at 5 Eastern, the Rose Bowl. And Auburn, Oklahoma, you'll be in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl.
Brent Musburger and I are getting ready for that one. That'll be a fun one, too.
Same conference matchup, Big 12, SEC.
Which I love.
Yeah.
I think there's some very intriguing matchups between those two conferences.
So Kansas State now down by a point with the ball again. The fake end around. Ertz kept it and got right near the first down. Let's go down to Laura Rutledge.
Well, Dave, A&M defensive tackle Zakoven Henderson was taken into the locker room on a cart with a right leg injury. They've been working with Daylon Mack a good bit, trying to get him up to speed on everything. He's a backup on this D-line, but he does play a good bit.
Laura, that's a big loss for this defense because Zakoven Henderson's been making a ton of plays in the interior of that line. Good news for them, though. They do have a lot of other D tackles that are very athletic.
It's a deep group. On first down, the pass complete to the right side. And a penalty flag thrown. I think a face mask there. Dominique Heath with the catch.
I think it was Donovan Wilson. We saw him have a penalty kick-catch interference earlier in the game. This time, I think, got a little bit too much cage.
So they'll sort this out.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 11, 15-yard penalty to be added on the end of the run, first down.
Well, that one was pretty easy to spot. Donovan Wilson, a junior, he had a decision to make. There's been some NFL talk with him. He announced that he will be coming back for his senior year. Not happy with that face mask penalty. Armani Watts, we haven't seen it. He was not officially ruled out before the game. We have not seen him in this game yet. Another talented junior. He's going to come back and play his senior year in College Station. Now the Wildcats right back into Texas A&M territory. Ertz on first down. That one is complete for 10 more yards. Deontay Burton.
Well, it's kind of been Jekyll and Hyde this year for this Texas A&M defense. You see the good. Anything happening in the opponent's backfield has been good. Lots of tackles for loss, lots of sacks. Bad, haven't been great against the run. And in the last month of the season, their last 4 games, they really struggled on third down.
And John Chavis, their defensive coordinator, a long-time excellent defensive coach in college football, was not happy about the way his defense played in the second half of the year. That one, I thought it might have been tipped, and the pass was completed inside the 25 to Heath.
Well, a big problem, too, for this defense, Dave, is that they've just played way too many snaps. 974 snaps for John Chavis in this defense. It's the most of any Power 5 team in the country. And I think the biggest problem, you take a look at that right there. So they're playing, what is that, 240 more snaps than LSU? That's basically 3 more games.
That's incredible. It really is. 3 full games of wear and tear on those defensive players like Myles Garrett. And they are going to take a look and review that catch to see if it hit the turf. So while they do that, we're going to step aside.
Rolling on the field was a reception.
What do you think?
Same catch.
Catch. We'll find out when we come back.
The Advocare V100 Texas Bowl, brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly.
Well, they might not be on campus. You can't stop the Aggies from their midnight yell practice before the game. They sold out that music hall. Look at that scene.
So I love College Station. It's one of my favorite places to go and call games every year. So many great traditions. You talk about yell practice and the 12th man, reveille, all the different things they do. It's part of what makes college football so great. That place is awesome.
Don't ask me to translate all the signals. But
You were trying
amazing.
to do that on the field pregame a couple weeks ago when they were playing Ole Miss at home. I remember.
How'd that work? 2nd and 5. Ertz picking his way forward, took a hit and got a yard. By the way, we should just mention they looked at that catch and confirmed that it was a catch while we were in the break.
And so now here's a critical 3rd down for Texas A&M's defense. Back before the break, we talked about how this defense had played too many snaps this year. The biggest problem, especially in the month of November, was 3rd down, their inability to get off the field. So far, they've held Kansas State 1 for 3 on 3rd downs. They need a big stop here.
3rd and 4. Ertz handed it off, and that one was stacked up. Nowhere to go. Justin Silman. He might have lost a half a yard.
Well, Laura told us that Coven Henderson out of the game, so one of his backups, Reggie Chevis, that time lining up at nose guard right over the center, did a great job getting penetration and push right in the middle of this defense. And there was nowhere for the running back, Silman, to go. Forced to cut back inside. Nice job by this banged up defensive line by Texas A&M making a play. And there's that big 3rd down stop they just were not able to come up with very often in their last 4 games of the regular season.
Well, now Ian Patterson, who's kind of the fill-in kicker, is going to try a field goal from 40 yards out.
He's got to get it up. Remember, Garrett blocked the last one.
He did, and he punched it through. So the kick game, which has been so shaky for the Wildcats, converts the field goal, and Kansas State back ahead 16-14. Just a few days away, Saturday, New Year's Eve, and it all starts at 3 Eastern. Washington, Alabama, then Ohio State. Clemson got plenty of time. They moved the game times up a little bit. You can watch both playoff games, then celebrate at midnight for New Year's Eve. Do it all.
Must-watch TV, though, man. Those are 2 awesome matchups.
Yeah, really are. And the question for Washington, can they hang with Alabama? Would be a huge upset. Kickoff deep and a touchback. Speaking of upsets, these 2 teams have a lot of history playing in the same conference. We go back to 1998, the Big 12 championship game. They played this in St. Louis indoors. Now Kansas State, to set this up, they were number 3 in the country. Number 2 had lost. Michael Bishop at the end of the game heaved one down, not quite to the end zone, so it went to overtime. And it took 2 overtimes. The Aggies, who were a good team themselves, pulled off what was an upset. Michael Bishop was here honored before the game tonight. Just a tremendous player.
I was playing at Florida when he kept them out of the national championship game.
Yeah, they were in line to go after number 2 had lost, and I think it was Tennessee they would have played for the national title.
Yeah, I think they had a 17-point lead in the 4th quarter of that Big 12 title game too.
A game that still haunts that guy.
More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
You figure so even-keeled, a coach who has sort of built his career around moving on to the next day, moving on to the next task. That one still haunts him.
I think about 25 years coaching at Kansas State. That's probably about the only thing he hasn't done, right? Played a national championship game. I think that's one of the reasons why.
I think that was their greatest team in their football history. After the penalty, 1st and 15, and they go backwards again. So a loss of a couple of yards, and we'll welcome in Laura.
Well, Dave, Kansas State defensive end Jordan Willis said that 1998 game between these 2 teams is one of his first memories of college football. He was about 3 at the time and remembers watching it and thinking, hey, I think I might like to play that game.
I think that was a good decision, Laura.
And it's a game that does live. That's another penalty against the Aggies.
False start. Offense, number 9. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, Kevin Sumlin's now looking at Ricky Seals-Jones, and he needs him to dial in a little bit. Remember, he had that illegal cut block earlier in the game, and he did catch a touchdown, but he also had a drop on the last possession, and it's kind of been up and down for Ricky Seals-Jones right now. They need him to sort of dial in.
It's also loud here. This is a neutral site bowl game. These schools brought a lot of fans on both sides. That's Kirk who gets the handoff from Knight and just didn't have a lot of room.
Just tremendous speed that time. Shermichael Moore, number 52, and the safety for 22, Dante Barnett. Again, out in space. And they see this all the time in the Big 12. With all the spread offenses they play, they're used to dynamic ball carriers having the football in space and having to run sideline to sideline and make tackles, but just fundamentally so sound on defense.
These are the spots where they've targeted Josh Reynolds, and they've had 2 long third down conversions to number 11. Knight stepping up, and he'll go down. Jordan Willis led the way.
It's a bad idea trying to block the defensive player of the year from the Big 12 Conference with one guy and a backup offensive lineman in Coda Martin, and that's what they do here. You're going to see him. He's lining up outside wide. Look at this tilt outside. He's able to generate so much speed out of his stance. He gets upfield and also plays with phenomenal effort. Runs by the quarterback, doesn't quit. Collects his 12th and a half sack on the season.
Got some help from the freshman Reggie Walker, who's going to be a really good player. There's a penalty flag, I think, that was thrown as that ball was punted. So the sack for Jordan Willis, and the Wildcats defense gets Kansas State the ball back here in Houston. Dave Fleming, Jesse Palmer back here in Houston. Do you agree with me? Kansas State's handled Myles Garrett?
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job. I mean, welcome to Myles Garrett's world. This is every week now. He's getting double team, triple team, cut block. They run away from him. No quarterback takes 7-step drops. So far in this game, this offense has been very aware of where number 15 is lined up. And no tackles tonight so far in this game. Now, he did block the extra point on special teams. He's made his impact felt there.
It's going to be a tough question, I think, for a lot of the scouts, because he is going to be picked at the top of the draft, whether it's 1, 2, 5, whatever it is. He is so gifted, but the production level has not been great, and I think it has to do with what you're talking about. On first down, that pass complete to Zuber, the redshirt freshman.
But it's the ultimate sign of respect, though, right? I mean, when you go out of your way as an offensive play caller to account for this guy every single snap. Listen, played injured a lot of this year, right? Had the high ankle sprain against Arkansas, missed a couple games, was playing injured against Alabama and Tennessee and Mississippi State, and still generated 8.5 sacks on the season. So to me, that's remarkable. He's a guy that commands respect. And I think Kansas State's game plan tonight, no different.
Yeah, lots of those scouts who are here tonight. I'm sure eyes on Garrett. Out into the open. A big play for Kansas State. Dominique Heath, touchdown.
Kansas State able to outflank Texas A&M with speed on the perimeter, going to the jet sweep to their slot receiver, Dominique Heath. They get a great block out on the perimeter by the fullback, Winston Dimmel. But at 5'9", 175 pounds, this guy's like a water bug, man. He can cut and he's explosive. Look at the speed. Able to get outside. We're oftentimes used to seeing Kansas State kind of these north-south runs with quarterbacks and running backs. Nice little change up. Getting the wide receivers involved now in the running game. This offense for Kansas State now, they're coming alive too.
You must not be big if your coach can deadlift you after you run 52 yards. Kansas State with the 23-14 lead.
But again, you see the respect and the impact of Myles Garrett. You don't try that jet sweep play to his size of the field, right? Because of his athleticism, his ability to kind of come off the ball, potentially blow that up. So I give this coaching staff for Kansas State a ton of credit because they've obviously done their homework. They put together an effective game plan with Myles Garrett in mind, and they found ways to get a lot of their playmakers on offense involved. This has been a very balanced attack. 25 plays run by the Wildcats, 10 of them throws, 15 runs, and a lot of different guys touching the football. They've been explosive on offense.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Wildcats now with the 9-point lead, 3:07 to go in the first half. Here from Houston, right in the heart now of bowl season. And fast forward just a couple days, Friday, so you can get your Friday kind of still in that holiday time, holiday weekend. Started off early. Georgia TCU in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That's at noon Eastern. And the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl, Nebraska, Tennessee at 3:30 Eastern. That's on Friday. Evans, the return man, still on his feet. Tough running outside the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Dave Fleming, Jesse Palmer here in Houston for what really has been an entertaining game. Look, the playoff games are going to take a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. One that I'm looking forward to, how about the Orange Bowl?
Yeah, that's awesome. Michigan
and Florida State. Michigan had an argument to be in. They weren't in. Florida State started to play so much better.
Yeah, I think Michigan kind of sputtered down the end of the stretch there in those last 3 games. Florida State playing great football at the end of the year. Cannot wait to watch Dalvin Cook and his ability running the football against that defense from Michigan. They're giving up about 3.1 yards a carry, only 7 rushing touchdowns. How are they going to use Jabril Peppers to try and slow down Dalvin Cook?
A little short pass to Kirk across the middle from Trevor Knight. You think back to Michigan, their offense slowed down. They didn't play well offensively at Iowa. They lost that game. Did not play particularly well at Ohio State. The defense played great all the way to the end.
It's the quarterback position, right? Wilton Spade had that left clavicle injury, and then it was John O'Corn, and they just need the quarterback, whoever it's going to be, and we think it's going to be Spade. In that game against a Florida State defense led by DeMarcus Walker and his 15 sacks, Michigan's quarterback play has to be big in that game if they're going to win the Orange Bowl.
Josh Reynolds for an A&M first down. They got plenty of time, the Aggies do. 2.5 minutes, plus they have all 3 of their timeouts. Knight looked left, now looking right, throws it away.
It's important, though, Dave, that they're able to generate some points here, and I think some momentum going in at halftime, because Kansas State's going to get the football back first in the second half. And Kansas State, with that balance they're showing on offense, I think Kevin Sumlin knows sense of urgency needs to go up right now. Try and capture some of this momentum back here heading into halftime.
Second down. Knight throws. That one was low and incomplete. Couldn't scoop it up.
There's not a lot open down the field when you play against this bend don't break style defense with 7 guys in coverage. So Trevor Knight continually is forced to check the football down and throw underneath. Yeah, that time looks like the ball just got a little bit under Tabuyo for the incompletion. Now setting up another 3rd and long scenario. Texas A&M needs a plan. They're going an empty backfield, so who's going to block 75 Jordan Willis? Right now, again, they got the backup tackle, Coda Martin, out there. Just gave up a sack on the last possession. Be a good idea here, I think, to help out with Keith Ford at running back.
Down to 1 and a timeout. They were about to be penalized for delay of game. Good spot to use one of those 3 timeouts to avoid that penalty.
Now it's an
So timeout to get organized for a 3rd down. Okay, so we were talking Orange Bowl, Michigan, Ohio, or rather Michigan, Florida State. How about Ohio State, Clemson, those playoff games? Washington, Alabama, we can get into that maybe a little bit later. It's hard to get a handle on who has the advantage, Clemson, Ohio State.
And I just loved watching Clemson on offense all season long. They're a matchup nightmare all over the field. You think about Mike Williams at wide receiver, and Deion Kane and Jordan Leggett at tight end, and Wayne Gallman at running back, and of course the quarterback, Deshaun Watson. That's a problem for a lot of people. There are not a lot of defenses, though, in the country that I think match up from a personnel standpoint as well as Ohio State does against them. Their ability maybe to control the run, that front 6 and Raekwon McMillan at middle linebacker, and then you got Tyquan Lewis at defensive end, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year in the pass rush, phenomenal secondary. I think it helps their defensive coordinator Greg Schiano sleep a little bit easier.
That snap was fumbled, and Trevor Knight could not scoop it up, apparently. It's Kansas State ball. Reggie Walker came away with a football.
There's a bit of a low snap, low and to the left. It's the one that I think Trevor Knight still could have handled. It came in a little bit hot, and when he tried to fall onto it right there was a D lineman that kind of knocked it sideways. The Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, Reggie Walker, Johnny on the spot, and the second big takeaway for this Kansas State defense. Remember we talked about Bill Snyder football? Don't beat yourselves. You do the little things. Turnovers, plus 11 turnover margin heading into this game. Tops in the Big 12, and now get another shot here to put on some points. And add insult to injury here at the end of the half.
Yeah, that one's huge. We'll see if the Wildcats take advantage.
Sudden change situations, play callers oftentimes like to take shots.
Hurts. Does that count?
For Kansas State, yeah.
it's a completion.
That's a forward pass. That's a bubble, and that's a positive play. Open up the playbook. I love it.
Well, the offense has definitely picked up last 5 drives after a quick 3 and out the first time they had it.
I think in the way they play tempo, I think Bill Snyder would like to see them sort of bleed this clock as much as they can. Obviously generate some points here, but not give anything back to Trevor Knight and that explosive offense here. Under a minute, 50 seconds to go. They're just going to take their time.
And they got all 3 of their timeouts, so there's no reason to rush. You do have to worry about that play clock. But they get it off. Ertz now scrambling, goes down. Nice play in pursuit along the defensive line.
And again, it's Reggie Chevis. It's the backup now playing because of Zaycova Henderson's injury. Look at the push number 13 gets right over the center. Completely collapses the pocket. Myles Garrett obviously forces Ertz to step up to the right, but it's Chevis. He's made a couple of huge plays now in the interior of that D line.
There was impact from number 15, Myles Garrett. 3rd down. Just content to not rush, let that clock wind. They hand it off. And close, but stopped short. Dalvin Warmack. That clock continues to roll. Bill Snyder looking at the spot, looking at the ball.
And they've had some issues kicking for Kansas State. Matthew McCrane, their starting kicker, got hurt against Iowa State, so Ian Patterson's been the guy on duty here about the last 4.5 games. That's him right there.
So let's see.
No chip shot.
Yeah, they called a timeout maybe just to think about those scenarios that you're talking about. Coming up on the Buick Halftime Report, Miami, that was an impressive performance, the game that preceded us against a good West Virginia team out of the Big 12, Northwestern with an inspired performance in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium, and then getting ready for those semifinal matchups. You want an Ohio State Clemson prediction for me?
Yeah, of course.
Because I think it's a hard game to figure out on paper. Urban Meyer, hard to go against him and his track record. I think Ohio State's defense has to score points.
Interesting.
For Ohio. I don't like the Clemson defensive line. You and I saw it up close. Is so good. That Ohio State offensive line hasn't been great. I think the Buckeyes defense needs to. I think Ohio State's offense is going to have a hard time.
Now, the good news for the Buckeyes D, though, is that they've been opportunistic all season long, and probably, I think, the best defense that Clemson's faced since Auburn.
Probably so.
In week 1.
Yeah.
Here's a scenario, no surprise here. Kansas State going for it on 4th down with the running quarterback. The +1 blocking advantage, that's obviously I think what you're expecting and anticipating here if you're Texas A&M. Some sort of quarterback power, quarterback draw.
With the fullback alongside. Final 36 seconds of the first half. Ertz will keep it and goes down. What a push. And it was number 13 again. Reggie Chevis is playing a heck of a game.
Well, it was Deshaun Hall, number 10. I think that really made the surge opposite of Myles Garrett. He's the other defensive end, and he's a good one too. 6'6", 270. Watch right here, the surge inside. Penetration, and Kansas State's offensive line had tried to condense and get shoulder to shoulder to not allow any gaps, but I've been impressed watching this Aggies D-line, especially in the running game. The penetration, they've been living in the backfield of their opponents all season long. Came into the game with 103 tackles for loss, 6th most in the country. Because it's not just Myles Garrett. They've got dudes across the board that can crease you. And after giving up away that takeaway and that fumble by Trevor Knight, what a big stop there in a sudden change situation.
Yeah, that feels big. Now Knight and the Aggies still can be aggressive. The throw short to Reynolds, and Reynolds got near the first down. Clock will roll down to 20 seconds. He did not get the first down, and A&M's not using a timeout. Now they do. And they wasted time there.
A lot of time wasted right there.
Maybe 6 seconds or so, maybe even more.
I think if you're Kevin Sumlin, you're kind of looking at the spot and you're wondering if they're going to give you the first down. Are they going to stop and measure? What are they going to do? So you don't want to burn it right away. That's a tough spot for Kevin Sumlin to be in, I think.
Now you're kind of forced to take a shot down the field. With 16 seconds, try to maybe get into long field goal range.
Yeah, but again, with the receivers they have, and we talked about those favorable matchups across the board, whether it's Kirk or Reynolds or Seals Jones, I think you feel okay for Trevor Knight. Here are the two big takeaways we talked about. First, phenomenal interception by Kendall Adams over the middle of the field on an underthrown post. Another self-inflicted wound, a low snap. Reggie Walker falling on it. It's been a big story here early in the first half.
Well, you figure A&M would need about 30 yards to get into comfortable field goal range.
Remember, it's a defense that does not give up a lot of throws deep down the field.
Does not. 4 receivers, Williams in the backfield. That throw toward the sideline, beautifully delivered. Reynolds steps out of bounds. So that was perfect. You get to midfield, only a couple seconds ticked off the clock there.
Some trash talking going on between Reynolds and the corner there, Donnie Starks. That's a tough spot to be in if you're the cornerback, because if you press him at the line of scrimmage, Josh Reynolds can run right by you. And maybe you give up then the home run. He's already caught one over top of Starks, remember?
So now
offsides.
And I thought it was. Pass incomplete. He took a hit. There was no flag thrown.
Well, I've watched Reggie Walker on film, and he's got an unbelievable get-off. This guy has great quicks and a great first step. Quick twitch. I thought this was too early, though. Watch down here. Well, maybe not. I mean, Avery Genesee couldn't believe it, the left tackle, just how quickly he got around him. I thought it was too soon. It was a big lick he put on Trevor Knight. I'll tell you, they're going to lose Jordan Willis to the NFL, but they're happy they get Reggie Walker for at least another year.
Knight now scrambling, clock winding down. Knight trying to get to the sideline. And I don't know. The clock goes to 0. They may talk about this. He dove for that sideline. It looked to me like maybe 1 second on the clock.
Clock operator, please put 1 second on the game clock. 1 second.
Wow, what an effort here by Trevor Knight.
Start on the snap.
Somehow he's able to break contain and break a couple tackles. Just to watch the game clock there. Right, able to stretch out. Yeah, that's a good call. I'll tell you, that's big too, because with the height that Texas A&M has, with Ricky Seals-Jones and Josh Reynolds, and they've got guys that can get up and catch the ball. Let's go check this out again, see if he got out of bend. Looks like there his left knee touches before the football got out.
Yeah, that was real close.
Wow.
In both regards. Now we'll see if it matters. One shot with those big targets. Knight will step up and heave it toward the end zone. Reynolds is down there, and it is incomplete. Kirk also, I thought, had a chance at it, but it falls to the turf. Now there's a penalty flag with that pushing and shoving after the play. That was close.
That was really good defense by Kansas State in their secondary. Cree Moore, I think, was the one that was able to knock that football down. And the key, they're not trying to intercept it, just knock the ball down. How many times in Hail Mary scenarios do you see defenders try to make the interception, ball pops up in the air, and an offensive receiver comes up with it?
So now we got to get this sorted out and make sure that it's actually halftime.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on Kansas State, number 10. That puts only one penalty and be forced to start the second half.
So Bill Snyder's wondering about that one, because the half is not supposed to end on the defensive penalty. However, the half had ended and then the penalty came. At least that was the explanation we got.
You see right there, it's pretty simple. I mean, Donnie Starks slams Josh Reynolds' head to the turf. Remember, they were chipping back and forth, trash talking earlier in this possession, and not only does he slam his head in the turf, but then stands up over him and taunts him. What you're used to seeing from Bill Snyder coached
Not
teams.
at all. Not at all. So it's 23-14 as the teams head to the locker room. Let's send it down with Coach Snyder. Here's Laura.
All right, thank you. Coach, how would you describe the final seconds of this half?
Well, at my age, probably a little heart issues there. Not getting the timeout or not getting the clock to run out and then getting the penalty on that. That penalty is a big play because we're going to lose all that yardage on the kickoff return in the second half.
2 turnovers for your defense in the first half. How do they affect A&M?
Well, I think turnovers affect anybody, and obviously the big pass interception was a positive thing for us. And the other one we got, both of them are big plays.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Bill Snyder and his Wildcats with the halftime lead, 23-14. Really entertaining game. The Aggies were the team that got off to the quick start, but it was the Wildcats who controlled it after that. We're going to send you back to studio after these messages.
You're watching Capital One Bowl Mania.
Back in Houston, this is the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. The site of Super Bowl 51 in a few weeks. A&M and Kansas State. It's 23-14. The Wildcats have the lead. These kids, there's been a lot of energy in the building. These kids clearly are into this game. This was just a moment ago. Coming out of the locker room, Kansas State and A&M. The Aggies were a little outnumbered there, Jesse. But I think a lot of spirit behind this game. It was really an interesting first half. Texas A&M got off to a great start. After that, though, what did the Wildcats do to get this lead?
Well, I think it was impressive. I think both on offense and defense. A lot of what you expect to see from Kansas State week in, week out, and a couple surprises too. What you always know you're going to see defensively from Kansas State is playing sound, not giving up a lot of explosive plays and doing a great job creating takeaways. It started with the safety on a phenomenal play. Kendall Adams stealing away the football and a big interception. Then later in the half, you saw a fumbled center quarterback exchange recovered by the freshman Reggie Walker. Now offensively, I think the surprise, explosive plays. How about Jesse Ertz here hitting Byron Pringle on a go route? Long touchdown getting behind the secondary. They also found other ways to get receivers involved. Dominique Heath here on the jet sweep, using that speed to get outside. You're used to seeing this offense kind of methodically march down the field and score points that way, but it's been explosive and a good balance throwing and running the football. I think Bill Snyder should be very pleased with both sides of the ball.
Now, Kansas State will get the ball here to start the second half, but because of the penalty at the end of the first half, unsportsmanlike against the Wildcats, Aggies are going to kick off from midfield, and who knows, maybe some bad feelings from that had something to do with the pushing and shoving we saw just a moment ago. I thought maybe A&M would have considered an onside kick from midfield, down 9. Instead, they just kick it deep. And the Wildcats were having the ball just a moment ago. Laura Rutledge with Kevin Sumlin.
Thanks, Coach. 3 explosive plays from Kansas State's offense. How should your defense adjust?
Yeah, we got to contain them. I mean, we either stop them or gave up a home run. We got to be more consistent on defense and offensively, too. So, we just got to play our game, settle back down, and keep our energy level high. It's a lot of football to be playing.
How have they limited Myles Garrett?
Well, they've got a different protection scheme. They're helping with the fullback over there. They're sprinting away, doing some things. We got to have some other guys. There's 10 other guys on the field too. We got to play team defense.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks to Kevin Sumlin. Kansas State ball. Charles Jones with the carry on first down.
Well, I think one thing they've done is they've had a plan for Myles Garrett, and a big part of that plan has been running away from him to the right side of their formation. That makes sense if you're Kansas State because their best offensive linemen are on the right side. You talk about right guard Terrell Johnson and their right tackle Dalton Risner. Both of those guys were named first team all Big 12 selections. That's the strength of this O-line. Texas A&M is predominantly lining up Myles Garrett to the left, so just keep running away from him, I think, if you're the Wildcats.
Ertz pressured by Garrett, got rid of it, and that pass is caught. Not a big game, but it is complete to Zuber.
Well, there's an example of Myles Garrett and a great pass rush move. That time just one-on-one blocking. You can't get it done, but because of the quick throw, Myles Garrett can't get home. It's another way to sort of neutralize Texas A&M's best defensive player. Nice job right there with the hands by the freshman Zuber.
And now it's 3rd and 2. First minutes of the second half. Ertz throwing. He's got his man wide open for a first down and more. That's Dominic Heath, who gets wrestled out of bounds around the 45-yard line.
There's a bit of a coverage bust that time by Texas A&M. Kansas State lined up in a bunch look, and there was some confusion in the secondary. Nobody was covering Dominic Heath in the slot. We talked about Texas A&M had been really good on third down there in the first half. On the first critical third down of the second, you got a mental error, and it costs the Aggies.
Heath, who had the big running play that we showed just a moment ago for the touchdown in the first half. That was his third catch. Now a penalty flag thrown. Another one of those false starts.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It is interesting. You know, he was the only returning starter. We're talking about Dalton Risner there at right tackle. The only returning starter on the O-line from this offense from a year ago. Played center last year. They moved him out to the right tackle position. He's done a pretty good job all season long with his assignments outside. Been a a lot of leadership, but a huge reason why this has been yet again another successful running offense.
In some ways, the story of their offensive line is the story of their season. On first down, Jones with the carry up the middle, big hole, and tripped up across midfield.
Well,
Myles Garrett was in pursuit.
This O-line has done such a great job with respect to improvement throughout the course of the season. Only 17 combined starts came back from a year ago. When you watch these guys play week 1 against Stanford, they look lost. But they've been able to stay relatively healthy throughout the course of the year. They were able to gel, communicated well, develop confidence. Their last 6 games, they're averaging 290 rushing yards a game. It's remarkable. You have to give their offensive line coach, Charlie Dickey, a ton of credit.
Second down and a short gain. The guy in charge of that Kansas State offensive line, developing young players, moving guys around.
And I think staying healthy was really key. I mean, really with the exception of the left guard position, everybody else started every game up front. And I just think having that continuity was really beneficial. And it's hard to keep continuity in college football week in, week out with injuries up front.
3rd and 2, they threw it on this down and distance a moment ago. Ertz pressured again by Garrett. That one is caught, but short of a first down. Myles Garrett was right in the face of the quarterback.
Yeah, Myles Garrett just has an unbelievable ability to contort his body and bend. And that time he was able to fight his way around Scott Franz, get in on Jesse Ertz, forcing an early throw. Nice job by Donovan Wilson contesting that throw. Watch Myles Garrett, like a guy that's 6'5" that can get that low to the ground that quickly. We were watching him stretch before the game on the field. His flexibility is off the charts.
You surprised that Kansas State's not going for it? They will punt the ball away. It was 4th and about a half a yard. Fair catch made at the 10 by Christian Kirk. So the Aggies defense holds to start the second half. Now Trevor Knight and company will head out on the field when we come back. Myles Garrett trying to make his presence felt in this Advocare V100 Texas Bowl. He and the Aggies trail. Well, for Texas A&M Aggies fans, it's a season that's been maybe a little too familiar here in recent A&M history. Started the year 6-0, 4th in the first college football playoff rankings, but they lost 4 of their last 6 games, including their last 4 SEC games. Part of it, maybe a huge part of it, Trevor Knight hurt. He is back for this bowl game. He was back for the regular season finale. He goes down on first down, sacked. Another big play for Jordan Willis.
He's a complete player. He's every offensive coordinator's nightmare because not only is he a good pass rusher, but he can also play the run. Look at the strength at the point of attack and the ability with violent hands to shed the right tackle. Then with his right arm, just sort of drag Trevor Knight to the ground. That's a lot of hand strength. This guy doesn't leave the field, plays every snap.
Now a whistle. The snap was bobbled, but there was a whistle.
Offside. Defense, number 75, unabated to the offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
I think with Jordan Willis, I mean, because he can play every snap, I mean, there's so much value for him at the next level. Whoever decides to draft him, he's going to play in the Senior Bowl. I think he's going to make himself a lot of money. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that can block him those one-on-one drills down in Mobile.
2nd and 10 for A&M. Knight throws, and that one is on a ricochet, caught by Kirk. What a wild play that was. Right through the hands of Tabuyo, and there was Christian Kirk behind him.
That's just how you draw it up. If you're offensive coordinator Noel Mazzoni, this is a laser from Trevor Knight. That goes through the hands, off the helmet of Tabuyo, and a great job on the concentration drill by Christian Kirk. They need to get him more touches. I know that one wasn't supposed to go to him. He only had 3 targets in the first half.
So fairly quick tempo. Ford trying to get to the corner, does. Keith Ford cuts it upfield into Kansas State territory.
He's a guy that's really come on here late too for this offense. He's a more physical runner that does a lot of his damage in between the tackles, but that time you see the speed getting outside. He had his first 100-yard rushing game against LSU since he transferred to Texas A&M. A big run there here early in the second half.
Little bit of a limp as he comes off the field. I don't know if that was just pure fatigue. Trevion Williams on the field, 1st and 10. Knight throwing. Downfield, incomplete. Very high, intended for Kirk.
This defense just tests your patience if you're a quarterback and a play caller, because they got all those guys in coverage. They take away all the deep throws. So you're consistently forced to run the ball, hand it off, check it down. And after a certain amount of time, there's a lot of quarterbacks that go, you know what, man, enough of this. Like, I'm going to take a shot. I can get it in there. I'm going to take a chance. And then inevitably you try to force the ball deep down the field into coverage. You end up getting picked off.
And we heard from Laura in the first half, right, about Noel Mazzoni talking to Trevor Knight about that exact issue. Got to stay patient. Knight throws that one incomplete, trying to hit Reynolds.
Basically what happens to every quarterback that plays against this defense. A lot of your attempts end up being 10 yards or fewer, because that's what this defense allows you. They want to see if you're patient enough to go 10, 11, 12 plays to score.
3rd and 10. Flag thrown, short completion. That's the kind of play that makes you think they're thinking about 4 down territory, but Reggie Walker, he may have been offsides that time.
Yep.
Offside. Defense, number 51. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
It's a nice job by the freshman center, Eric McCoy, on the shotgun snap, just kind of holding the football a split second longer. It's the second time this drive Kansas State has gone offside at that defensive end position. There's a lot of chatting going on. You see Jermaine Illuminor, number 72. He was the starting right tackle, but because of an injury, they had to move him over to left guard in this game.
So it's 3rd and 5. Still that part of the field where you figure could be 2 plays to get the 5 yards. Making an adjustment to the call. Knight's going to run it. That hole opens up on the right side. He's got the 1st down.
Nice job in design by Noel Mazzoni. They use the running back motion to try and get the linebacker to move going this way, try to get going that way. And it just forces the middle linebacker, Shermichael Moore, just to hesitate a split second. That's all the room that Trevor Knight needed to go get that 1st down.
That was a big sequence. It was 3rd and 10, the penalty, then that play, it's 1st down, just inside the Wildcats 30. Trevion Williams straight ahead with the burst, the true freshman, another Aggies 1st down.
There's that inside zone play that this offensive line, I think, has done a really good job of all year long, and they're good getting double team blocks. That time the center and left guard get a great double team on number 99, the nose guard. Trey Deshawn, they're able to get some movement in the second level.
So quickly to the line of scrimmage. They'll hand it off to Williams again. That cut, that got him maybe an extra couple yards inside the 15. That's Keith Ford over on the sideline. They're working on his left leg. Meanwhile, the true freshman who became the first Aggies running back to go over 1,000 yards rushing in his first year on campus in their history.
And impressive, because he's got a lot of speed, but the ability to run between the tackles and run outside. He's complete in the running game.
Hometown game for him, as it is for so many of these A&M players. Knight throws, perfect delivery to Reynolds, 1st down.
Yeah, good timing that time by Trevor Knight. They've tried that throw a couple times, and Trevor Knight's missed it. I think that time did a good job staying patient. He held on to it just for a split second longer and watched the throw come open. But there's velocity on a throw that I haven't seen him make since early in the Mississippi State game, when he hurt his AC joint in that right throwing shoulder.
1st and goal. gutted it out against LSU, came back way sooner than anybody thought possible. He looks a lot fresher now. They'll throw that jump ball. Reynolds, touchdown. After what happened at the end of the first half, he did well not to get a penalty. Another touchdown for Josh Reynolds. That's 8 straight games.
Josh Reynolds and Donnie Starks, to your point, they've been kind of duking it out all game long. I think Josh Reynolds has come up on the winning side here a couple times. You talk about the catch radius. That's an underthrown fade ball. But some receivers just have the knack of timing up these throws and timing their jump and able to pluck the football out of the air with those long arms. What a season their co-offensive MVP has had, Josh Reynolds.
90 yards. That drive started at the 10, and there was a sack on the first play of the drive. That was impressive and big for the Aggies, who get within 2 with the extra point up and good. It's been a lot of jawing back and forth. Josh Reynolds, after that catch, gets to do the talking here. Texas A&M, their defense came up with a stop. The offense goes the length of the field, and they're down just 2 in Houston.
The AdvoCare V100 Texas Bowl, brought to you by Gildan, your favorite t-shirt, and the Capital One Venture Card. Earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day. What's in your wallet?
I think with every single bowl game, part of the week for the players, for the teams, is not just having fun themselves, but also doing some good in the local communities. And the players on both sides did that here in Houston this week. Now doing some good on the field. We've seen some big-time plays for the Aggies, for the Wildcats, and we get a 2-point game. That one is returnable. DJ Reed from right around the goal line. Reed stopped at the 20. Well, Thursday on ESPN. That's tomorrow, right?
That is tomorrow.
This time of year it gets a little muddled.
Yeah, that's why they all get jumbled.
Birmingham Bowl, Belk Bowl, Valero Alamo Bowl with that top 15 matchup. Oklahoma State and Colorado. Wall-to-wall college football Thursday tomorrow on ESPN.
That Alamo Bowl is going to be awesome to watch, and I think one of the cool things in that game, Colorado's defense that looked so good in the second half of the regular season, they just lost their defensive coordinator, Jim Leavitt, to Oregon. They're facing Mason Rudolph. If you haven't watched Mason Rudolph play yet from Oklahoma State at quarterback, remarkable. Only guy in the nation that threw for over 3,500 yards and didn't throw 5 picks.
Yeah, he's really good. First down, Kansas State. And that, I don't know, we'll see. The defensive tackle, Dalen Mack, jumped. He thought he was pulled offsides.
Offside. Defense, number 5, with contact. 5-yard penalty, first down.
I'll say this. I watched tape of Dalen Mack, and he has one of the better get-offs I see in college football up front from a defensive lineman. And more often than not, he's able to, I don't know how he does it, but he's able to time it up right at the snap. And that time, the center, Reed Niver, doing a good job just again on a shotgun snap, just holding it a split second longer, anticipating the jump by Mack, getting the offsides.
1st and 5, Jesse Ertz hands it off, and now the Wildcats look like they were going backwards. The cut back to the left side, though, and a positive gain and maybe a first down for Justin Silman.
Well, again, running away from Might have got poked in the eye, I think, on this play here as he was playing from the backside as his parents look concerned here looking on.
Well, the thing you don't want for any of these players, but particularly the guys like Myles Garrett in a game like this, is to get hurt. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Dimmel, the fullback, poked him in the eye. On the scale of injuries that make you nervous, that would be very low. Well, hopefully he's all right. First down, Kansas State. Heck of a run by Silman in the midst of it all. Ertz is going deep again into double coverage and incomplete.
Going back to Myles Garrett for a second, I think one of his strongest assets is his love for the game. big news around college football here in recent weeks is guys like Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey deciding to kind of forego that bowl game and not play. And here's a guy that could risk losing a lot with an injury that wanted to come out here and play in this game. Earlier in the year, he gets that high ankle sprain against Arkansas, and there's a lot of dudes in his position that would have just shut it down and been like, hey, I'm not going to hurt my draft stock. He played hurt in big games against Bama, Tennessee, and Mississippi State because he knew it was important to his team's chances to reach a playoff. And that love for the game, I mean, NFL scouts and GMs, they have to take account of that, and they have to take notice of that.
Still on the sideline, I agree with you. I'm not sure, maybe there's a contact lens issue as well. Second down, handoff, Silman out into the open. Another big play for the Wildcats. Wrestled out of bounds inside the 35 by Larry Pryor.
Really nice job by the O-line working the double team, and Abdul Beecham, the left guard, doing a nice job climbing into the second level here and then a chip op up here. When you can get hats into the second level on these linebackers, you get them playing on their heels. That's what helps spring these running backs into the second level. And again, another explosive play on offense for Kansas State.
And I will say this, the point you've been making all night long, Myles Garrett finally goes to the sideline. That's about the first time they've run in that direction all game.
Absolutely right.
As soon as he left the game, they went right at that spot. And got the big play of 36 yards. Silman, they're going that way again. Well, since we're talking about Myles Garrett, how about our PlayStation View player spotlight? A guy who is the active FBS leader in sacks, Defensive Player of the Year award finalist, unanimous first-team All-American. Even with the production level down a little bit, Mel Kiper's got him #1 on the big board. Todd McShay has him #2.
Yeah, it's just rare to find guys that impact the game the way he does. John Chavis, their defensive coordinator, obviously. He's had a lot of good ones at LSU and Tennessee, other places he's been over the years. I don't know if he's ever had one as good as Myles Garrett at defensive end.
So Browns fans, 49ers fans, that's a nifty play by Ertz to the fullback who's inside the 10, Dimmel.
This is a great scheme they use on offense, this fullback pop pass, where they make it look like it's going to be quarterback draw, and the fullback acts like he's going to block the linebacker, and at the last second runs around him. You saw Colin Klein back in the day throw that. We've seen Waters. We've seen multiple quarterbacks in Kansas State have success. Remember, it was Gronkowski. Remember?
Yeah.
Catching the ball, their old fullback who's now in the NFL with the Patriots. He's the beneficiary of that. These interesting and these dynamic schemes that Bill Snyder and this coaching staff utilize that you just don't see very much throughout the country.
Just the second catch on either side by a non-wide receiver. That handoff to Silman. Got about to the 5 with Garrett still on the sideline now. Number 15 is going to jog back on the field. They get the contact lens sorted out. So here he comes.
It's kind of an area of the field that Kansas State likes to get the fullback in the game, and Winston Dimmel run that Wildcat package. They've got 5 different running backs that they can use in these types of scenarios. So many different personnel formations and packages for Myles Garrett. Still held to without a tackle here so far in this game. Expect them not to run it left here.
Well, they went towards him. Garrett helped stop it.
And Garrett blew the play up.
Maybe they didn't know he was back in the game.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why they haven't been going that way. There's a reason why teams don't do it. Watch him take on the double team, get a little bit of push. And when Jesse Ertz had to step up, there was nowhere to go. That doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but that's a first-round caliber play.
Yeah, that's where those no tackles are a little misleading. It's loud. Third and goal. Ertz. Incomplete. Donovan Wilson wanted a chance to intercept it.
Well, he kind of tripped over himself when he was starting his back pedal, and had he kept his feet, he would have been able to make that interception in the end zone. I think he knows it. It was a great job in coverage, man-to-man. He's trying to cover the smash route from the slot. Watch right here. There's a great job falling off of it. Right when he turned around, just kind of got tangled up on himself. Otherwise, that ball was underthrown. He would have picked that off.
They're still upset that he didn't come up with the turnover. Ian Patterson, who has made a field goal in this game. This kick is good. Kansas State marches down the field, 71 yards. A&M holds them to a field goal, though. We got a 5-point game. Celebrating its 12th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, All-State makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. Since 2005, All-State has donated millions in scholarship funds. Friday, 8 Eastern from Miami. It's the Capital One Orange Bowl. And a heck of a matchup. Number 6, Michigan. Number 11, Florida State. It'll stream live as well on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Can't wait for that one. We have a good, fun game here tonight between two old conference rivals who don't play in the same league anymore, but are acting like it tonight. Not just big plays and nice performances and a close game, but emotion on both sides.
I think there's some familiarity too between a lot of these players. Obviously, Kansas State has a lot of guys on their team from Texas, and a lot of these guys played against each other in high school and with each other in high school. Here's the last drive. Kind of got fortuitous for early on a deflected pass that went to Christian Kirk. They had some good running plays as well. Pete Ford getting outside, showing off the wheels on an explosive play, and then down deep inside the goal line. Fake jump ball, Josh Reynolds. Nice balance on that play, but I think the key here in the second half is Texas A&M's done a better job running the football. I think this offensive line has started to kind of take over a little bit, and again, against the best run defense in the Big 12, not easy to do. They need to continue having success here on the ground.
So first down, they'll swing Kirk out. They were looking like they might throw it to him. Instead, down to Williams, the tailback. Did he stay in bounds? No, he stepped out right near the first down mark. Otherwise, that could have been a huge play.
Yeah, Noel Mazzoni's using this running back motion right now to try and confuse this defense. That helps spring this open. Checking that out again. And where the football is in relation to when he steps out of bounds. That's close.
And they gave it to him. I think that was the right call.
Yeah.
So nice gain of 10 for the true freshman Travion Williams, who will carry it this time straight ahead for 5.
It's a better run blocking offensive line than they are a pass protecting offensive line. They're big too. They're 311 pounds across the board. We've seen tonight they can get movement, get push, work the double team blocks, climb up into the second level. Big reason why they're running for about 48 yards per game more than they did a year ago. And you got to give their offensive line coach Jim Turner a ton of credit.
I mean, they basically have no depth left whatsoever. So it's a precarious situation. That one caught on the left side for a first down. Jeremy Tabuyo with some tough running after the catch, close to midfield.
You know, for the success of this offense, you see a little jabber in there. There's Avery Genesee, the left tackle, getting involved. But having continuity on the O-line, not just players, but coaches too. Jim Turner, he's the 3rd different offensive line coach they've had in the last 3 years. Came from the Miami Dolphins, actually coached at Texas A&M for 4 seasons. Very, very highly respected around the world of college football, and it's important Kevin Sumlin was able to keep him. The success of this offense moving forward with Noel Mazzoni calling plays.
Kirk goes into the slot on first down. Knight with a lot of time finds Kirk over the middle into Kansas State territory to the 44-yard line.
And it's that jerk route by Christian Kirk where he has the ability to kind of spot up over the ball, and he has the ability to break out to his right or break out to his left. It's a good job of him and the quarterback here being on the same page. It's tough for the linebacker to have to cover that, but give Elijah Lee, number 9, credit because he funneled the football and kept it back inside. But again, number 3 needs more touches. He's your most dynamic playmaker on offense. Find ways to get Christian Kirk the football.
Final minute of the third quarter. A&M with the ball down by 5. Knight will run forward, and then he sailed one over the head of his target, incomplete.
That's the same play that Auburn hit against Alabama. Remember a couple years ago in the kick 6 game, Sammy Coates down the sidelines for Nick Marshall? It's that zone read play that Texas A&M likes to use with wide receiver attachments. And if you take away the quarterback run, there's a wide receiver open downfield. Just couldn't hit that.
Reynolds has been their guy on third down.
That's offsides.
That is offsides. Knight got hit and throws a pick. Now, is there a penalty flag? I don't see a flag. Yeah, there is one. There is a flag on the field.
It was smart by Trevor Knight knowing he had the free play. That's why he took the shot.
Defense, number 75. The 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
If Trevor Knight starts giving you, flashing you the first down side, you know this thing's gotten chippy.
It has.
Both times. He's the last guy that's going to do that. Second time now in 2 drives that Jordan Willis has been offsides. You don't expect that from your team leader on defense, the Conference Defensive Player of the Year. Great play defensively here in the secondary by DJ Reed, the defensive newcomer of the year in the Big 12. Little push off there I think he probably got away with because of the offside penalty and an uncharacteristic mistake by Kansas State. It cost them.
Now Willis is off the field. They fake an end around type play and they're going to the end zone. Incomplete. What a play on the ball. Duke Shelley knocked it away trying to go to Josh Reynolds.
That's outstanding defense in the secondary. Josh Reynolds looks like he has a step on him here in the post throw, and it's a good throw. Duke Shelley, who injured his lower leg against Baylor, had to miss the last couple games of the regular season, making a monster play, and it's clean. Swatting it away with the left hand, the ability to ID the football in the air. Not very big at 5'9", 175, giving up about 7 inches in height to Josh Reynolds. Nice play.
Really nice. You can make a case that Josh Reynolds has been the most impressive player in this game. Knight throws middle and it's dropped. And on the ricochet.
It gets picked.
Well, one is saying incomplete, one is saying complete, and they're going to get together and say incomplete. Pope should have had it, then Kendall Adams tried to scoop it.
Yeah, there have been too many drops.
Field is an incomplete pass. Third down.
I thought this was, no, it hits the ground for sure. It definitely hits the ground. But too many drop balls for Texas A&M. I understand that Trevor Knight's healthier again and he's throwing with more velocity. You got to pick it up. 5 drops so far in this game for the Aggies. Now setting up 3rd and long.
Well, this is the 7th time in this game they've had 3rd and 10 or longer.
This is kind of when Kansas State can get exotic here on these 3rd down looks too. They got 4 DNs in the game to get more speed. They don't blitz very often. When they do, though, it comes on 3rd down.
Knight option play, keeps it. Knight broke a tackle and got tripped up inside the 35 by Kendall Adams, who's really been impressive.
And I think you're going here if you're Texas A&M. This is going to be a long field goal. Down 5.
I thought so too, and now they're sending Daniel the camera out on the field. Now it is the final few seconds of the quarter, so who knows, maybe Kevin Sumlin will have a moment to reconsider. We'll find out when we come back. Heck of a game so far, the Texas Bowl. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the Aggies sort of came to life in that quarter. Josh Reynolds making big plays, but Kansas State, the team with the 5-point lead. The Advocare V100 Texas Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. And in between the 3rd and 4th quarters, you'd think you were in College Station. 26-21, that's the score. Kansas State leading the Aggies of A&M. Dave Fleming, Jesse Palmer, Laura Rutledge. We've had a good one. And A&M looks like they are going to attempt what would be a career-long field goal try. I'm going to call it 52 yards. This is an interesting decision. They do have a quarterback, Connor McQueen, who's their holder. Just keep that in mind. Snap hole, they are kicking, and it is on the way. No good. Not quite enough.
I understand the thought process. If you're Kevin Sumlin, obviously you want to get the game to a point where you're down only 2, need a field goal to go up, and you're in a dome, and it's good kicking conditions, but Lacamera's long is a 49-yarder all year, and I think that was a situation that the way the offense has been running the ball and the big plays they've made with a healthier Trevor Knight, I would have liked my chances going for it there on 4. That's a long kick.
Yep. It was real close, but I'm with you. Bill Snyder's team comes up with a hold and maintains that 5-point lead just 5 seconds into quarter number 4. A&M trying to reverse that trend of late season slides. Although under Kevin Sumlin until last year they've been very good in bowl games. Ertz and Kansas State back on the field. Running to the right side for a gain on first down. Our Advocare game summary. A&M got the ball first, went right down the field and scored. It looked like it was going to be their night.
We talked a lot about Trevor Knight in this game. He's made some big plays. But how about Jesse Ertz? Very kind of, I feel like quietly, has gone 13 of 17. Been extremely efficient. Threw a nice touchdown pass early in the game. Really hasn't had an effect running the ball like he has all season long. He's been very good throwing it. He's helped give this offense balance.
2nd and 8. Fakes it and keeps it. There's that running ability, diving ahead. So he made something out of not much there, although they are going to, it looks like to me they're going to spot him for a gain of just a couple yards.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this offense is on 3rd downs, 3rd and longs, they throw to the sticks. They don't run draws and screens. They let Jesse Ertz drop back behind center and try and find a guy beyond the 1st down marker. We talked about Myles Garrett in this game. Doesn't have a tackle yet. He's clean off the stat sheet, but this is his wheelhouse. Look at him in a sprinter stance coming off the edge.
They have a tight end over on that side. Ertz, first down to midfield with the completion to Pringle.
And a great pocket by the offensive line. That time, Texas A&M, they're bringing 5. Just a phenomenal job. Just look at this wall. They're able to build around Jesse Ertz. He's got great vision and a wide open receiver. And again, we talk about the efficient night Jesse Ertz is having. He hasn't missed a lot. It's an offense, they don't ask him to throw very much, but I'm telling you, that's not indicative of his skill set throwing the ball.
I'm with you. Gain of 19 for Ertz. So that was a big conversion there. Handoff, Silman straight ahead inside the 40, down to the 39.
It's so funny. Myles Garrett out of the game again, so they run left. They know where number 15 is at all times. They know exactly where he's sitting right now on the bench if he is sitting. I mean, when he's in the game, they only run to the right side. That's what LSU did. They ran for 298 yards against the Aggies late in the year. And that dude's off the field. Your entire playbook opens up.
Second and 6. This time it's not quite as obvious why he's not on the field. Maybe just a regular rest. Option play. Ertz straight ahead for a yard.
3rd down. Guess who's coming back on? Myles Garrett and Deshaun Hall, number 10. This is really one of the better pass rushing defensive end tandems in the country. Deshaun Hall's made some nice plays here tonight. He's another guy that's going to have an opportunity, I think, to make a lot of money on Sundays. Weren't able to get to Jesse Ertz there on that last 3rd down. I wonder this time if John Chavis tries to dial up some pressure and bring added rushers, see if they can overwhelm this offensive line. Looks like a man-to-man coverage situation.
And Garrett comes a little closer to the football this time. Ertz calls a timeout. So we'll step aside ourselves and be right back for a big 3rd down play for K-State with a 5-point lead. Now tune into ESPN3 for the post-game ceremony presented by Capital One immediately following this game. We have a ways to go, though.
These big 3rd downs, Byron Pringle right there, number 9. He's been the go-to guy, and right now they've got him lined up on a true freshman corner, Charles Oliver. See the last 2 games, what he's done. He's really come on here, really, these last 3 or 4.
A&M showed some pressure. Ertz keeps it and gets the first down and more to the 20. Then takes a big hit inside the 20, but hangs on to the ball.
Yeah, a good decision by Jesse Ertz because he sees the pressure coming from the field and he knows that they can't pick it up. So he just does the smart thing and says, look, if you're going to bring that blitz and I can't get it, then I'm just going to take off away from where the pressure is coming from. He's been taking big shots all season long.
Ouch. Deshaun Hall got a big hit on him, but the first down and much more inside the 20. Second 3rd down conversion for Kansas State on this drive. Play clock winding down. Hand off left side. And that time towards Myles Garrett, who stopped the play.
Yeah, you know, we talked about Jesse Ertz a moment ago and the toughness. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Kansas State's quarterback. This guy tore his ACL his senior year of high school, tore the same ACL last year, first play of the season, missed the year, yet here he is this season. He leads the team in attempts. Guy takes big shot after big shot. He's their leading rusher, never complains. Great leadership because he knows it's what it takes to win games.
He keeps it this time and just had nowhere to go. It is a remarkable story. There is a penalty flag on this play. Dad has a hard time watching.
Legal formation. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down. Second down.
A&M has a decision to make. I guess they're accepting the penalty. That's an interesting one. I don't know. He got stopped. It would have been 3rd and what, 7? Instead, they'll make it 2nd and 13. Tore his ACL in high school. First play of the year last year. Tore up his knee again. So they didn't know what to expect. Kansas State this year, he has played so well.
He's had a right shoulder injury this year, another knee injury. The guy's never missed a start all season. Remarkable.
I think Dad's trying to sneak a peek on the big video board, pretending not to watch. Silman leaves the backfield. Ertz, that looked like a design run with the fullback in front to the 10, to the 5, toward the goal line and stopped just a yard short.
Again, it's the patience setting up and selling this quarterback draw. When you watch him drop back, he makes this look as if he's going to throw this to the right, and he gives time for his fullback to get out in front. And there's the speed again that nobody respects. This guy in high school was on the 4x100 meter relay state championship team. He's a dangerous, dangerous weapon on the run.
I think they got the spot right. Poor Dad.
You don't want to waste all the energy like standing up and jumping around. If you can get an angle kind of through some of the heads there to the Jumbotron, just save your juice.
Yeah.
You know?
He's definitely not looking at the play on the field. He's sneaking a peek up on that video board.
It's not his dad's first rodeo.
Having a big game. Here's that big time power formation. Ertz with the push. I don't think so. Stop short.
They do a lot of really interesting things in goal line situations, whether it's these 3 fullback look quarterback sneaks that we've seen tonight, or the fullback Winston Dimmel playing the Wildcat quarterback. They probably got more goal line offense than I think I see from any other team in the running game. Their versatility. But I'll tell you, when you have a quarterback at 6'3", 212 pounds at his size, I mean, they've got some good options down there tight.
He's had 2 different 20-yard runs on this drive. 10th play of the drive. 2nd and goal. So hard to stop Kansas State at this point.
Look how tight they are in there. It's going to be a sneak again.
Ertz, I think he got there. No signal yet. Touchdown.
I don't know how Kansas State fits this many guys in that small of an area. I mean, just look at this. Look at all the people in that condensed spot. There's 11 dudes. I mean, what is that, 4 yards each side of the center? Pretty cool.
And the 2 different fullbacks, they got 3 fullbacks in. 2 were really giving Ertz that push from behind.
That hurts too as a quarterback, right? Because you're running into a wall, and then you've got a bunch of beef behind you pushing into your back as well. I mean, trust me, that's not fun. You score, that's awesome. But I mean, that's like taking a big shot. Like, it's like getting sacked.
32-21 with the point after coming. That was low, but good. Well, the Wildcats, after A&M tried the long field goal and came up short behind their quarterback, Jesse Ertz, with Dad having a hard time watching down the field for a 33-21 lead.
The Advocare V100 Texas Bowl, brought to you by Advocare. Shop and learn more at advocare.com. And Chevrolet, more 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand.
Well, easy for me to say, but I still think A&M made a mistake trying for the long field goal, 4th and short. They kicked and came up short, and Kansas State immediately went down the field and added to their lead. So it's 33-21, still 9 minutes to go. The Aggies will get the ball back. Kirk has been back on these kick returns, just hadn't really had a chance to return one. Takes a knee. Well, Saturday on ESPN, 3 p.m. we get you started with the first of those semifinal matchups in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It's the 4 seed Washington out of the Pac-12, #1, the dominant team all year long, Alabama. And then it's 7 Eastern, Ohio State, Clemson. Just a fascinating matchup in that one. The playoff games are here on Saturday. They'll stream live on the ESPN app.
How much pressure, literally and figuratively, is on Jake Browning from Washington in that game against Alabama?
Huge pressure.
Against the best pass rush in the country. Think about the quarterbacks in recent years that have given Alabama problems. Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, Cardell Jones, Chad Kelly, whoever. Mobile guys. Jake Browning not overly mobile. Very accurate, can anticipate, but man, oh man, is he going to have to play at a high level.
He'll have to play a lot better than he did in the Pac-12 championship game. Going deep for Reynolds with contact and a flag thrown. 2 of them, in fact. Now that's going to be against Duke Shelley.
Kansas State can't cover Josh Reynolds, and they're trying different guys. Earlier in the game, they had number 10 out there.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 8. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Yeah, Donnie Starks trying. He got beat a couple times. Now they got Duke Shelley lining up over. Made a nice play on the post earlier here in the second half, swatting it away. But, you know, you watch Josh Reynolds and his talent and the speed and his hands. It's amazing to think he didn't get one Division I scholarship offer coming out of high school. He had to go to JUCO before transferring to Texas A&M. How did that happen?
Yeah, you watch him play now, that seems impossible. They've targeted him 16 times in this game. Knight scrambling, he's got Kirk wide open, and he hits Kirk for the completion inside the 25.
And they had Christian Kirk wide open really early. If Trevor Knight could have spotted him sooner, this would have been a touchdown. Watch number 3 here in the slot. He's just going to run the deep cross. It clears the safety. This defense never has coverage busts. One of the biggest reasons why they don't give up explosive plays is because they don't make mistakes like that. They don't let you run behind them. You see here now trailing 12
Previous
points.
play. It's under further review.
Texas A&M, they're taking shots. Take a shot at Josh Reynolds down the sideline, get the pass interference, and now another shot to Kirk to the middle of the field.
Well, they're going to review. We'll take a couple looks. I thought he caught it. So as we go to break, let's see. I think he kept full control. We'll find out for sure right after this. Maybe.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Reception. First down.
It was close. A huge call. 40 yards were at stake here.
I think the big question is, did the ball ever touch the ground? It's allowed to touch the ground if he has complete control of it. At the time, that wasn't the case. The ball did bobble, but if you don't have a picture, it's indisputable of the ball touching the ground at any point. See right here, right when it looks like it's about to, his elbow covers it. So I think that's a good call by this referee crew.
Just not enough to overturn the call. So first down and a fastball from Knight to Reynolds for a short gain.
I like the aggressive play calling here by Noel Mazzoni too. I mean, they're putting it on Trevor Knight, down 12. They know the strength of their offense is this wide receiver group. Josh Reynolds, you see the night he's having. Christian Kirk's here starting to come on in the second half. You've seen Ricky Seals-Jones with a touchdown earlier in the game. Find your best matchup and exploit it if you're Trevor Knight.
And Kansas State was not totally organized for that second down play. They burned a timeout. They're down to 1 here in this second half. Maybe not enough players on the field.
I think Bill Snyder can't believe it. I mean, some of the mistakes like that, the personnel issue, having to take a timeout. They've also been penalized 10 times in this game. You never see that. You haven't seen that very much at all this year from Kansas State.
Really is unusual for the Wildcats. Josh Reynolds, he's playing his final game with A&M. All these scouts that are here, they got to be impressed.
Yeah, they do. And this is a guy this offense is going to miss next season. But he's got that ability outside in one-on-one matchups to win. And you can't coach ball skills like that. You can't coach body control or to have a catch radius the way Josh Reynolds does. You see what he's done in his last 2 bowl games against Louisville last year and tonight. He's been a monster. He's been a monster really his last 2 seasons. And as we mentioned, on fire right now, 8 touchdowns in his last 8 games. Great way to end what's been a stellar career for their senior wide receiver.
Out of the timeout, 2nd and 5. Knight fakes it to Ford, who's back in, and it's Reynolds for another touchdown. Another contested catch.
They run the double move, the curl and go to try to get Josh Reynolds in behind this defense. Watch the stop, gets the corner just a bite for a second. He gets tugged on. That's at least defensive holding, doesn't get called. But then look at Josh Reynolds. The last possible second he puts the hands up. That way the cornerback has no idea where the football is. Some receivers have a great knack for that. I remember Randy Moss was the best I'd ever seen at doing that. Mike Evans was a great Texas A&M receiver for Johnny Manziel. Could do the same thing. Josh Reynolds, he's putting on a clinic tonight. 3
plays, 75 yards, just what the Aggies needed. With this extra point, up and good. 7:50 on the clock, and a 5-point lead for the Wildcats of Kansas State out of Big 12 against an old Big 12 member. The Aggies of Texas A&M, of course, now in the SEC with their quarterback Trevor Knight. Who does, you mentioned, Jesse, the bowl performances of Josh Reynolds, and they've been excellent these last couple of years. Trevor Knight seems to like playing in the postseason too. His highlight, I think, of his career will always be that performance against Alabama when he was with the Sooners.
In the Sugar Bowl, it was remarkable. Really, I just give Texas A&M and Kevin Sumlin and this coaching staff a lot of credit for getting this team's mind right. I think Trevor Knight needs some of that credit too. As a leader, he made sure that this team wasn't going to tank. Remember, they lost 3 of their last 4 games of the regular season. They were number 4 in the inaugural college football playoff ranking and collapsed late in the season. Had injury issues. You just didn't know what their motivation level was going to be coming into this game, whether they were going to throw in the towel, turn the page, start looking towards 2017. But the seniors on this team, the Trevor Knights, the Myles Garretts, the Josh Reynolds, who understood this is their last time in playing in a Texas A&M uniform and how important it was to band together against a very confident Kansas State opponent. They've battled and they've played hard in all 3 facets.
And now down just 5 with the kickoff. Returnable for DJ Reed, who's got that speed. Reed to the 30 and to the 35-yard line. Nothing going on after the play. That has been an issue for sure in this game.
Obviously the goal now for Kansas State is to maintain possession and bleed the clock and run the football. Myles Garrett's in the game, so you expect they're going to be running to the right-hand side. And I think you can plan for that. You're John Chavis, the defensive coordinator. I don't think there's going to be a lot of mystery here where the football is going to go. The ultimate respect you can pay a guy defensively is to run away from him, not throw to him. Myles Garrett's had that all night.
Ertz throwing incomplete. That's interesting.
Well, again, this is an offense that likes to throw on first down when you're expecting run. And they have those pop pass plays. They throw to the fullback, Winston Dimmel. We saw them complete one earlier in the game. But nice job that time of Texas A&M defensively staying home. And now Kansas State not accomplishing what they set off to do. They're not wasting any time, and they're sitting here at 2nd and 10. If you get to 3rd and long, that guy becomes a factor.
Pass game has been robust for Kansas State in this one. Only 1 timeout remaining. Play clock under 5. Ertz 1 step back, now going forward with that lead blocker, but closing fast. Alaka, the middle linebacker. Let's go downstairs to Laura.
Well, guys, in talking to some NFL scouts here to see Myles Garrett, they all said it's not about the stats for him, it's more about his presence on the field and how teams respond to him. They also said they'd rather a guy play in a bowl game than not play in a bowl game.
Well, Laura, right now, they need the defensive ends for Texas A&M to slow the pass rush down. We've seen a couple times the last 2 drives, they're actually running past Jesse Ertz and taking themselves out of the play. Jesse Ertz on these 3rd downs has been able to run and go get the first himself.
3rd and 7. He'll throw, and what a catch by Pringle. The ball comes out with the big hit. It'll be incomplete. He had it, then the hit.
I think, the ball didn't hit the ground initially when it got jarred loose by the cornerback Charles Oliver. Watch this again. This is close to being an interception. Ball's thrown behind him. Looks like he's going to snag it. It's a big hit by the true freshman Oliver. Ball didn't hit the ground. It got ricocheted up in the air. Then there was a bounce. But what a big 3 and out for this Texas A&M defense.
And that looked like a conversion. It was a great effort by Pringle. But the true freshman with maybe the biggest defensive play of the game. Aggies are going to get the ball back. Maybe returnable for the ultra-dangerous Kirk. And returnable, but with good coverage. So not much there. Elijah Lee, who plays so many snaps on defense, there on special teams. Well, when we're done here in Houston, we will have Sports Center at night. Neil Everett is standing by, getting ready. Lots of stuff to talk about. Bowl games and everything else from the world of sports. Neil, Sports Center at night on ESPN next.
I think in this situation of the game, if I was Kansas State, I would make an adjustment, and I would take my best cover corner, DJ Reed, and put him on number 11, Josh Reynolds. He's been playing the opposite side of the field all game, but in this kind of scenario, when Trevor Knight's hot, he has a connection here with number 11. Get your best cover guy over on that side. Josh Reynolds has been eating everybody alive.
6:37 to go. Handoff Ford. Spun through a big hit. Got a nice gain of maybe 7 yards on first down.
You know, number 75, Jordan Willis. I know we've talked a lot about Myles Garrett, and rightfully so. He's had a really nice game himself. He's been making plays, rushing the passer behind the line of scrimmage. He's been excellent against the run tonight. We've seen 2 really good defensive ends go toe-to-toe here tonight.
2nd and 3. Another carry for Ford. First down and more. Tough running for the junior Keith Ford. I'm thinking maybe it was a cramp that took him out for a while in this game. He's been running hard when he's had chances.
This is an up-tempo offense, but you see now in this kind of scenario, trailing by 5, they can take their time. Make sure you get the right play called, get in the right position.
Knight a little shoulder fake, now pressured on the move. Trevor Knight headed for the sideline, gets shoved out of bounds.
There's the added dimension he provides also, right? The ability to extend plays with his legs. He hasn't really had to scramble a whole lot tonight. He's been lucky enough to be able to throw most of the time on time. Right there, great job in coverage by Kansas State, nothing open, and this is a situation of the game. You can take over, let your legs help you.
He did. He had some big scramble games against SEC defenses. Mom and Dad watching Trevor Knight play his final college game, trying to lead a comeback. 2nd down and short. That throw back shoulder, and Reynolds hauls it in.
Yeah, okay, like get DJ Reed over there. I mean, he's the defensive newcomer of the year in the Big 12. He leads the conference with 18 pass breakups. He's your best cover guy. This is a really well executed back shoulder throw, and I'm not even sure if DJ Reed would have been able to stop that. There's no defense for a perfect throw, but no one can stop number 11 right now, and that's your best player in the secondary. And it's looking like maybe he's looking over at the bench saying, hey, do you want me to go over there?
Yeah. This is the left tackle, good player in his own right. I think it's a cramp, although hard to know for sure. Avery Genesee trying to get stretched out.
Dave, he has a chance to be the 5th offensive tackle drafted in the 1st round from Texas A&M in the last 5 years. 6'5", 315, unbelievable feet, athletic. The NFL obviously loves that. Gets to practice against Myles Garrett every day. Certainly doesn't help, makes you a better player. You think about Luke Jokel, Jake Matthews, Cedric Ogbuehi, Jermaine Ifedi, all the big good tackles they've had. Avery Genesee, he's a guy they need to get back on the field. How about Josh Reynolds tonight, huh?
I hear what you're saying about making some kind of adjustment because he's eating them alive now.
I mean, Trevor Knight's not throwing that side at all. I mean, that Speedy Noyle who's suspended, he's playing to the side right now that DJ Reed's covering.
Guess who? Reynolds again.
And look, if you look out there, DJ Reed, he's mad. He's mad at the coaching staff. He's yelling at the coaches. He's telling them to put him over there. He's frustrated because Texas A&M's playing keep away. He understands what's going on. I think it's a big mistake to leave this matchup on Josh Reynolds. I mean, he's one throw away from them taking the lead.
Aggies on the move. 2nd and 1. With Williams alongside Knight in the backfield. This time looking in that other direction, and the quick tackle in the open field by Reed, but an Aggies first down.
And that's what I love so much about DJ Reed. It's his quickness and his ability to break on the football. He always seems like he's in the back hip pocket of the wide receiver because of that change of direction, those quick feet. He's got active hands, and that's why he leads the conference in pass breakups. But they need him on the other side where Texas A&M's most dangerous receiver in this game has been.
You got Kirk and Reynolds stacked up on the right side. Williams takes the handoff inside the 25 to the 21. So Texas A&M marching right down the field.
This Kansas State defense all year has been a very good red zone defense. They force field goals and don't allow a lot of touchdowns. And the critical juncture of this game now, their back's against the wall. They need to make a play. That's gotten them in trouble a couple times this year. They had fourth quarter leads against West Virginia and Oklahoma State they weren't able to hold on to late. They need a big stop.
I don't think there'll be any field goal tries on this drive. Ford, nice catch, and squirts ahead to get at least a couple of yards positively in what could have been a big loss.
Yeah, he's playing possessed right now. He's fired up. This is his last game too. He's a senior, and physicality is his game. I mean, he's got Shermichael Moore all over him here, grabbing him by both shoulder pads, and he just refuses to go down because of that effort. Makes this third down so much more manageable.
Kansas State showing some pressure, almost jumped off sides again.
This is where you got to think about Christian Kirk here potentially in a one-on-one in the slot. Quick slant opportunity.
With all the time running off, you figure it's got to be 4-down territory. That pitch to Ford, perfectly defended by Kansas State. They stuff it. And now Kevin Sumlin has to call a timeout with 2:14 to go. So we're going to take the timeout with the Aggies as they figure out maybe their game on the line here with 4th down coming up right after this. All right, here we go. 2:15 remaining. It's 4th and 8 for A&M. Trailing by 5 to Kansas State here in the Advocare Texas Bowl.
I think if you're Kansas State defensively, you got to be thinking number 11, Josh Reynolds.
Kirk is the man who comes in motion. Trevor Knight with pressure coming. Throws incomplete.
Great defensive play call here. You're bringing 6. Texas A&M, they're sliding the offensive line this way, so they're outnumbered to the left side. That's the nickelback Cree Moore coming in untouched. Trevor Knight has no choice but to get rid of this early. Throwing out to a wide receiver, Damian Ratley working against the best cover corner for Kansas State, and just no chance.
The timeout burned before that 4th down play looms very large here. However, with 2 timeouts still left in their pocket, the Aggies could conceivably get the ball back with somewhere around a minute still to go. So the game is not over, but it's a must stop for A&M's defense. Ertz keeping it, and Ertz gets shoved out of bounds. No, they wind the clock. Wow.
That was smart that Jesse Ertz got down He barely looked like he got that right knee down before he went out of bounds. Good awareness, understanding the time and situation of the game. You can't run out of bounds, bleed the clock. The heads-up football play.
And it was a good call, and it forced A&M to use one of their final 2 timeouts. There's still 2:01 to go. Jesse Ertz, we talked about his personal story, injured on the first play of scrimmage of the season last year. Won the job coming into this year, played really well, and has had one of the best games of his career here tonight. We're going to make him our Capital One player of the game.
Yeah, and you just want to spin this thing forward. I think he's a big reason why. I think Kansas State has a chance to make a lot of noise in the Big 12 next year. This has really been his first year, only year, as a starter here. And we know this is a running offense, but he's been so accurate and efficient tonight throwing the football. He showed off the arm talent, the accuracy, still was able to make an impact with his ability running the football down in the red zone. This is a very young football team. This is the youngest team that Bill Snyder's ever had in his 25 years. But a lot of their big playmakers, freshmen and sophomores. Jesse Ertz coming back next year as a senior. An offense that returns 10 starters, and he gives them a chance.
A&M crowds the line on 2nd and 10. Ertz again just looks like he's intent on keeping it. He does, and Ertz gets the first down. And that should basically do it, not officially.
That's the advantage of having that running quarterback. When you get the extra blocker and you get tailbacks blocking out in front, you've got 9 guys out in front of your quarterback getting hats on hats, and the patient running by Jesse Ertz we've seen all game. And again, the heads up, knowing you got the first down, get down on the ground, don't risk fumbling the football and giving it back. Just a very well executed game plan. Very impressed with the game plan the coaching staff from Kansas State came up with, but it's been executed flawlessly by Jesse Ertz.
Ertz now didn't quite just take a knee. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. A&M uses its final timeout.
Kansas State's going to lose some key guys on defense. Jordan Willis and Shamichael Moore, Dante Barnett amongst them, but with all that young talent coming back, I think on both sides of the ball, in a schedule that I think is very favorable. Toughest non-conference game is at Vandy, but in conference they get Oklahoma, West Virginia, TCU, Baylor at home. The picture is going to change a little bit in the Big 12 next year too. Remember, Texas and Baylor have new head coaches. I think the issue is maybe the 2 best quarterbacks in the conference, Baker Mayfield and our guy over at Oklahoma State, Mason Rudolph. Those guys we think are coming back. But I guarantee this, Kansas State won't be picked to finish 8th in their conference like they were this year in the preseason. They're not going to sneak up on anybody. They deserve respect. They're going to give everybody some headaches next season.
Well, and we tried to get it out of Bill Snyder, whether he's coming back or not, but it does make you think all that young talent that he would want to have at least one more year with a chance to win a lot of games. This would be win number 202 in his Kansas State head coaching career. So we expect that he'll be back on the sideline. He says he still feels healthy and good, and he's having fun.
He told us, if they want to have me, I'll come back.
I think you're good in that respect. Now, somebody got knocked down.
It was Day Hall. It was number 10. He was laying on the field for a second. I don't know if he got pushed.
So they got to sort through the game is not quite over, but just about, as long as Kansas State doesn't make a huge mistake.
I'm with Bill Snyder, though.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. Number 56. That is his first of the game. There'll be a 15-yard penalty.
And Terrell Johnson, who's had such a good year, it doesn't impact the time situation for A&M, which is dire.
I was taking a look at it again. Just kind of keep your eye up on the scrum at the top. So that's very good acting by Deshaun Hall.
Yeah, that's a flop.
There was contact made by Terrell Johnson. Not going to deny that. But the academy goes to
the senior from Lancaster, Texas, Deshaun Hall. And look, the flip side of that discussion about Kansas State and their prospects, there will be lots of questions hanging around this Aggies program about another finish to the year that was not what Texas A&M wanted. Hurts.
David, it's going to be tough sledding next year for Texas A&M too when you consider who they lose. A lot of their leaders, and we've seen Trevor Knight and Myles Garrett and Josh Reynolds, Avery Genesee, et cetera, et cetera. Tough schedule too, though. Got to go at UCLA right out of the gate. You're going to play at Florida, at Ole Miss, who you've lost 4 in a row to, at LSU, who you haven't beaten since you've been in the SEC. You're going to have a brand new quarterback, and they've got a true freshman they've got now in Nick Starkel, Kellen Mond, number 2 overall dual threat quarterback in the country coming in January. Defense has to get better stopping the run. And the quarterback position, I think, in the SEC next year will be as good as it's been in the conference since 2013 when it was Johnny Manziel and A.J. McCarron and Aaron Murray, Mettenberger, Connor Shaw, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, Ertz was told just make sure that play lasts a few seconds and that will do it, and it will. What a win for Kansas State. And what a year. Kind of forgotten, left behind after a slow start. They end up winning 6 of their last 7 and take down a very good team from the SEC. You can't get your head coach wet when he's 77 years old. So use the confetti. I like it. 2 guys who have a lot of respect for one another. For Myles Garrett, a great career is likely over, at least at the college level. Kansas State wins the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl here in Houston. For Jesse Palmer, for Laura Rutledge, for our great ESPN crew, Dave Fleming saying so long from Houston. 33-28 Wildcats win.
And that's why I'm here right now.
Are you glad it's confetti?